Recording in progress.
Today is June 24th, 2024. This town of Crestone Board of Trustees meeting is being held both in person and via Zoom. The time is 9:31. In order to complete the town's business in a timely manner, the following procedures will be followed for all town meetings, including those hosted on Zoom. All meeting participants must keep their microphones muted and the videos turned off, except during the citizens' comments and unless called on to speak by the board. For the Town of Crestone Board of Trustees procedures and rules of order, section 7.3, we allow 15 minutes total for citizens' comments. During those 15 minutes, speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to speak, after which they will be informed that their 3 minutes are up and the microphones will be muted. Before speaking, please state your name and address for the record. If comments that are longer than 3 minutes or if the time for citizens' comments expired, before you get a chance to speak, please send your comments or correspondence to the town hall and the board will respond to your letters. We will take citizens' comments for up to 15 minutes as per our procedures. Multiple citizens have the same comment. Please be brief. Should the time allotted for citizens' comments expire before you get a chance to speak, you may submit your comments to town hall to be included as correspondence to the board at the next regular meeting. We're going to do roll call.
Mayor Byron,
Here.
trustee Oglesby.
Someone did that?
Yeah, locked? Oh, I did that. I saw mosquitoes could come in and I just locked it up.
Trustee Kinney,
Here.
trustee Lakai. Here. Trustee Mendes.
You sit over here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Trustee Martinez.
Here.
Trustee Positively.
Here.
Also in attendance, interim town clerk Ariel Blackwell.
Okay, next we have approval of agenda. Any additions, deletions, comment?
I wanted to move, Goldie's presentation of the energy fair stuff,
Okay, up to the,
kind of more up towards the top. Like, we've got,
I see it.
the
And
3 box thing and the public hearing, and I don't want to sit here.
let's move that up to,
My question was, free box lease,
Yeah,
it's not our property, it's not our business.
that's why we have Lonnie here,
I know.
and we've got the lease kind of amended, so
Let's
that's
move
for Chelsea.
Crestone Energy Fair up to C.
Sweet.
And,
Yes.
will we have an opportunity here to just, talk about public things?
Oh, yeah, it's on the agenda. Under,
We have it on item I, is to hire public works assistants, but we do have anything to talk about?
we also have it under 11. Public Works Report.
For the no hire.
No, it's 11,
Okay.
Public Works Concerns and Public.
I use the regular meeting agenda format. I would maybe strike treasurer's report, mayor's report unless you have one, and code enforcement report.
Treasurer.
Do you want to start the mayor's report for today?
Pretty much everything I wanted is on the agenda. There. As long as these guys are here too, we can, this is, under,
There's C.
oh, they're seeing it, so.
Yeah.
Probably goes to D.
Okay, clarify. See, the D,
C, the new C is gonna be Crestone Energy Fair permit application, which is in right now. And then C
says.
is gonna be D.
D is, and it's not D.
Correct.
Okay. Let's I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I would second.
No, I'm entertaining.
Oh, and so what, how does that work again?
So then you would make.
Make a motion, somebody.
I make the motion.
Okay, she made the
I make the
motion.
motion.
I'm not gonna move it because it's too confusing at this junction. I'll go for it, but I'm not gonna second.
Anybody else second?
Second.
Adam? Any more comments, concerns, too confusing?
Yeah, it is. We're all over the place.
We'll get through some stuff fast.
Okay, well,
We were supposed to have a lawyer for our public hearing, is that correct, or? No, you can do it, okay, awesome,
okay, as it stands, as amended,
as amended. All in favor?
I.
Dennis, did I?
Yes,
Okay, next we got, approval of minutes from our previous meetings from May 13th and May 29th.
I make the motion that we approve the regular meeting of May 13th, 2024.
I'll second.
Any more comments? Discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Dennis,
aye,
next we have meeting from May 29th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting of May 29th.
Second,
I'll second.
any more discussion?
I recuse, I was not present.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, citizens' comments.
I guess I just like to know if I need to be here, waited out to sign the contract with Freebox.
You're on 4B, so you'll be pretty close to being up soon.
Yeah, okay, I know.
I think his question is, does he need to be here to sign it in front of
It would
us?
seem like I would need to be here to sign it, I can come into the regular office.
So there were no comments, concerns, or anything having to do with the pre-box?
No,
Okay. And,
I'm just trying to save myself some time.
okay, Warren Stevens.
I think that means we don't have to be here.
Yeah,
You can come to all. You can come by.
you're all good.
Just name for the record, if you don't like.
Warren Stevens.
Thank you.
First thing's a small thing, on your agenda, you've got further down. Your format, the resolution. You've got a financial, the treasurer's report, I believe, before you've got approval of the agenda, you can't do that. You need to modify. that.
We changed that already.
Well, that's what it came to, okay. So it's now pretty close, it's 2 months short of 2 years. And the malfeasance by this board, and then I'd like to point it out to you as the newest member. The board has been acting illegally for more than 2 years with their financial situation. And I think you should be aware of it. The rest of the board has known it and done nothing. The lawyer has done nothing. The accountant has done nothing. Let me correct that. The auditor has done nothing. I think it's about time you board step up and get the financing fixed. No financial statements. I think I've identified over $1,000 of misappropriated funds. And if I can see it, I think the board ought to get on to it very quickly. Because I suspect there's more. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren.
Thanks, Warren.
Next, three of citizen, any more citizens comments, Zoom, no? All right, will you hit the button on the screen that just saying that we got it?
You cannot sign that.
Thanks.
That's what I mean, that's what you got.
Okay, so next we got presentation of bills. did we,
No, we didn't.
not doing that until next, the regular meeting?
For now.
So just so you know, we have the new system, our finance committee is gonna be reviewing all bills prior to the presentation of bills. So we will have a double review on them, which will be good. Next is clerk's report. She has a good long report. You wanna read it or do you wanna, we've already read it, everybody's read it.
I only had one comment on the clerk's report regarding the cemetery expansion. You know, the survey's been done, it was done 4 years ago, I believe.
No,
The only thing is the flood plan. Is the only thing that has not been done, okay?
so there wasn't really, a good survey. This survey is actually a LiDAR survey that does overlook all the floodplains. So that it'll be on the agenda, but that's the survey that we're looking at. It's something that actually gives us, it's 200 pictures per meter. And we can really get an idea, and then looking at the plans, we'll talk about it more, but there's,
Okay.
well,
Thank you, that was my only comment on first, otherwise it was an excellent report.
What's available for free?
we'll do it for free.
It's already been done by USGS, the whole valley.
The LiDAR, like,
LiDAR, 100,000 things per second.
Did you say USGS?
USGS, the whole valley has been done.
I just wanna say that, I appreciate that Ariel was able to get some scholarships in order to do the clerk training that will save the town some money, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, congratulations, Ariel.
Thank you.
That's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited for that. I have 2 updates to my report, since it was written. Well, actually just one. It was about the state internet portal authority payment processing. The reason that we haven't been receiving money from SIPA is because we closed the water sewer account. And that's where the money was going to, so that's why that's happening. We'll get that sorted out, but I just wanted to update you, we had an answer.
right? Is that door locked?
It shouldn't be.
Any other did you have 2 things or
I apologize, there was
one thing?
Oh, just for one, and then for the apartment rental, just pointing out that we have 2 applicants for the apartment upstairs. We have these gentlemen here, and then Kyle Campbell submitted application as well to use it as like a residential area.
Do you wanna talk about the town cloud thing later, Ariel?
Sure, or I'd happily talk about it now, it's up to you, I'm just looking for help with the website and with the agenda packet building. This software offers a reasonably based plan for both, it would be essentially $149 a month. Why I say this is the website is very confusing to use currently, it's on like a developer kind of status, and that I am not, although I am many other things. If anything, I would really like the agenda building portion of it, it would just make things so much easier to have. You would all have access to it, to put items onto the agenda yourself, I could take notes from it, print out a packet easily. It just streamlines the whole thing, again, currently I spend like 8 to 10 hours on agenda building, minutes and stuffing binders. Just looking for ways to streamline that and save money on them.
Yeah, so 149 per month, and what is do you get a diploma, or is there
This is different.
an in, or is it a constant?
It's a constant software, it would help us, The 149 would be website as well, so it would streamline our website and make it really easy.
Well, I
to use.
understand that, but I was just wondering, I know, is this indefinite?
It would be indefinitely, and there's price breaks if we were to choose like a 1-year agreement or like a 3-year agreement.
Well,
I do have the full pricing, I didn't have it when I built this agenda.
do we have that in the budget
We have,
for training?
well, this sounds like it's more of a software that would streamline, so instead of Ariel having to like pull up a document, correct me if I'm wrong, instead of Ariel having to pull up a document, then it'll have some sort of system where she can easily input information. So I think it's more of an organizing software.
It's an organizing, and they work, the agenda and website work together so that when one is built, it goes directly to the website. And the minutes go directly to the website as well. And I would ask, I think after looking at the budget, it would be covered under IT and web expense.
Sure.
It would got 4,000 for IT and website expense. We could try it out and, can we sign up for,
I was thinking if we tried it for the rest of the year and then we could reevaluate from like December or January and see if it actually has been efficient and effective. And
That sounds good. to me.
so
and
that
that's why I priced it, that would be $300 for just the agenda software or $894 for both from now until December. Or until January.
It saves time for our,
Yeah, I think,
I think it's a good idea.
and you'd like to try out both.
I would, but I'm happy with just the agenda portion.
I have a question.
yes, Dennis?
Ariel, is this gonna eliminate a lot of the paper, all of the paper that goes in with producing the agendas?
Yes, between that and the packet, between that and going digitally to the iPads, it's gonna save a lot of paper and it's gonna save a lot of time.
And do you have any idea how much we spend per year on what we have been spending on the paperwork for the agendas?
I don't, but I would say 10 hours per meeting that we've had. So if we had 2 meetings, that's like 20 hours of my time.
Well, but then you still have, you still have this
Plus
one.
the paper and ink and, yeah,
So it's still gonna take you some time, but not as nearly.
it won't take me as much time.
So then that would essentially help offset the cost of what we're doing here then.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
Like to make a motion?
yeah, I make a motion to let Ariel get the town cloud agenda and website software for the rest of the year. And then check in at the end of the year and make sure it's improved our efficiency.
For a second,
I'll second.
more discussion, all in favor?
Hi,
Armando's
Sorry.
on.
morning. Thank you. Sorry, I was trapped in the waiting room.
From,
Since we're on H, we could do F and G. Pretty quickly.
I do kind of wanna,
Those aren't
gonna
be quick.
yeah, I wanna there's a lot of people who have like kind of short stuff.
okay, so now we're done with the clerk's report. Let's go to our public hearing.
Thanks, Ariel.
Scott's here.
So we have a public hearing at this time. We're located at 108 West Alder Street, Crestone, Colorado. The date's June 24th, 2022. It's 9:49 a.m. In attendance are trustees Pasoluzzi, trustee Mendez Sanchez, trustee Oglesby, trustee Martinez, trustee Kinney, and trustee LaPie, as well as Mayor Byer. We're here to consider the new liquor license application for Love Enterprise for Scott Swarty. As of today, he has he's provided all the necessary forms. He has passed his background check as well. We are just waiting for approval from the state and from the license authority here today. At this time, I would ask for public comments, for this business, for this application.
Any public comments regarding the love enterprise application?
And I haven't received any public comments, in the office. It's amazing. So at this time, Scott, if you would like to speak or say any words about it, you're welcome to.
Well, we're looking at making a little prep read, and there will be a kind of a beer garden or dining area on the bit of land I just bought.
Can I have you come here? Speaking to the mic.
You probably haven't turned it on, so.
Just flip it up. No button on top of there.
So it's gonna be a little prep read. There will seats and more people, and not including the deck. There will be a beer garden on the side. I'm not intending to have any live music in the beer garden. I think the pub covers live music, so I'm good with
Is there supposed to be a map that's included when you go out to the beer garden? Are you gonna have to re-include the map?
I put it all in my, you mean the drawing like this?
The map of it, if you like to.
No, it's fine. I just was curious if it was included.
No,
with the
I
beer
did
garden.
actually do it. We do all the egresses and all.
The applications.
Question?
Yes.
So, what are you wanting to do there, Scott?
At in the building.
Are you wanting to open the restaurant again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and serve,
Crepes.
okay. And, so you'll have a food menu and you're also.
Yeah, it won't be only crepes, but that'll be the feature. And I want to do quite a lot of vegan and vegetarian. Be a bit more wine bar style than pub style. Yeah. It'll be nice. Yeah.
Well, and of course, you're gonna abide by state laws as far as youngsters after 9 o'clock. And noise, whatever our ordinance is.
Yeah, I ran it for 5 years before,
Right.
when it was a discount. And, yeah, so
I'm not familiar with the youngsters after 9 o'clock
I am,
law.
I am without an adult.
Because of bears, we requested that the dumpsters be blocked, actually, I think it's on the
Not
video.
there.
Youngsters.
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 Oh, youngsters, okay.
Yeah. There's a state law that the parents have to be present if there's a youth in a bar after 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And that was my concern. But no, I don't see a problem here at all. Do you know the laws? You have to abide by the state law.
yeah,
And so it's all good.
yeah,
And with the noise and the one thing and another,
yeah, I'm leaving the music alone. I
right?
don't want to get into that.
So on the issue of dumpsters, you remember from them? Having a bear-proof locking dumpster.
I do have a bear-proof dumpster, but it does need repair. So, but actually Connolly Waste is responsible for that, so I'll give them a heads up before I open it. At the moment, it's not really an issue, because we don't need.
So also, I mean, I think we probably would have questions about grease traps and all that, but none of that nor dumpsters has anything to do with a liquor license.
Right.
I do have I'm putting in a brand new police truck.
Right.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve his
I
application.
think we have to close the public hearing.
If you're going to make a motion, you need to say the place, his name, where it's located, on the application there, and then say contingent upon state approval.
In the public hearing?
No, I think we have to close the public hearing.
Sorry. Then, I'll close the public hearing at this time,
9:55.
9:55 AM.
So then I make a motion, we approve a hotel and restaurant liquor license for Love Enterprise at 187 West Silver Avenue in Crestone, Colorado, contingent upon state approval.
I'll second the motion.
Payment. Any more discussion?
Just curious, I don't think it matters, but are you serving beer and liquor?
Yeah. We're having no shots, so
Oh, all right.
just so nobody's challenged.
Are you gonna have nice wine?
Pardon me?
Are you gonna have nice wine?
I will try.
Excellent news.
Any more discussion? Trustees on Zoom, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
welcome back, I'm so glad.
I'm not sure I am.
When's opening day?
Opening day. No comment. No, it should be at the latest 1st of August. I've had some delays. I've got to shoot up to Pioneer right there. But, yeah, 5th of August at the latest.
Cool.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate the time. Can I go now?
Yes, you can go.
Agree to go.
Next, we have free box lease. Chelsea.
Chelsea and Lonnie.
I asked for access and I just asked for them.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Did I miss that, Mariana?
I don't know if I can give you access, because I don't, it's not, I think you have to give access.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't even know.
What are we talking about?
So the free box lease, I got it here, it's the same lease that we had with Lisa and Lonnie, but now we just put Chelsea's name in for Lisa's name. And, I mean, it's pretty much just like,
$1 a year.
$1 a year, we have been paying the insurance on that little corner, and I got Ariella to suss out if we had the insurance on it still, and we do, right?
Dude, it's about $7.43 a year.
Which seems really reasonable to keep a free box going. So yeah, it's the same lease, I can read it to you guys if you want me to. Do you want me to read it out loud? Read it.
We read it. I mean, is there anything that stands out that needs to be addressed?
No, not really. It's the same thing, you know, like, we'll do the $1, we'll do the insurance, we're technically the leases. Lonnie's the leaser, and then Chelsea and the Craft Trade Collective, is that what you wanted to be under?
So,
Are basically they're like the third party
So-
agent that's in charge of taking care of everything at no cost to the town.
Okay.
Besides the insurance.
Okay, just a question. When people start piling up clothes, do you have a dumpster,
Yeah, there is a dumpster.
Well-
That's something I think that we still need to discuss with the town is,
well, yeah, that.
are we gonna continue the dumpster?
was, what, was it a split or something like that? Is that how we had, do we have a split with you? How was that supposed to work?
The town, as far as I know, the town's paying for the dumpster up to, you know.
Cause there's two dumpsters there, you have your own.
Yeah, I have one.
And you paid for that one?
And these are commercial, the big commercial ones.
No.
I think it's the one for the free box is now something like a half size, or a
It's a
3/4
poly.
size. It's a real dumpster, it's just a smaller size.
So Chelsea gave a presentation, when was it, last week?
That the last time meeting, I believe.
And they have a whole system now where they're gonna be going through stuff before it actually, it's not like a regular free box anymore.
It's gonna be locked and closed and attended by a volunteer
That's
for the
excellent.
entirety of the time that it's
They don't
open.
have volunteers, they won't even open it.
We won't open if there's no volunteers, we won't
Right
open.
on.
So it's gonna be up to the
You
town to
know, we've
volunteer
had
to do that.
issues with the urine bottles and needles
Ugh,
and clothing was defecated on?
Yeah, so people, the
It was a few.
volunteers who were there are the only people putting donations away.
Okay.
So when people bring donations, the volunteers will be going through them and putting them away, that's gonna be part of their volunteer shift. And if they don't have time, we've got those boxes outside are gonna be locked. So if they don't have time to go through any donations, they can store them in there until the next volunteer comes who can go through them. But it's no longer gonna be people just throwing their stuff in there.
Yeah, excellent.
It's gonna be, I've got a grant, I put in grant totes, so things will be in, tote bins.
Better camp.
Closed off. We're putting an Adobe floor in next month.
Cause I miss it, I
Yeah.
just want,
We're gonna lock the doors. Dana actually has volunteered to help build some doors. Eventually, over the course of this summer, we're going to enclose the whole thing, hopefully with bottle walls at the top. But right now, our plan, what we have on the docket is to close it, lock it, and put in Adobe floors, so we have something we can sweep.
Did you get that new camera? Cause I know I sent you.
So I know we talked about the camera last time, Lonnie has a camera.
I have a good camera on it. It can't read license plates, but it can figure out mostly who's been there. If they're local.
So I gave her a link for a solar camera that was like less than $100 that charges in 10 minutes and runs for 24 hours.
Sure, I mean, all of that's good ideas and I support that. It does appear that the people next door to me have a camera on there also, so.
Right, it's like facing the
I
free
have to
box.
make sure it's functional and not a fake camera, but if there's 2 cameras on there, then we could add anything we need to add, but.
Right,
Okay, well, if you start having problems, I'd recommend it, cause it does help.
The only problem I've had so far, I was able to get properly embarrass the person on Facebook and they came and apologized.
Oh, good.
So like the system, like it seems to mostly be okay, other than.
I guess since you're closing it, I mean, you could have the same problems if you were open, but you might have people coming at night and just dumping.
Just dumping things at night. My camera works great at night as far as, like, you can kind of tell what kind of vehicle and what they were dumping and who it might have been,
Okay,
if it's local people.
right.
so I'd entertain a motion to. Please.
I'll move that we approve the free box lease with Chelsea Braden. As all this be?
Oh, I just put it on the agenda, but I won't be on the list.
Okay, you will be on the lease. Okay, I move that we approve the lease.
How long?
What's
For
the
the year?
dates?
Yeah, the dates are just open on there, so it's to be filled out.
Yeah, it's just like,
1
We
year
would-
lease.
we could do a year if we wanted to do that, then we'll just have to, yeah.
I would do a 1 year with like a month before renewal, so we, at least a month.
Yeah, so I can come and check in and,
Right.
okay.
I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion?
So on discussion, I saw last year, the volunteers really worked hard, and I'm so glad that you're looking at locking it. One of the problems I felt is that there was actually more stuff going into the free box than there were people actually taking things. It was a problem of abundance. And so I assume that with the volunteers that there will be, when there's a real surplus of clothes, that they'll be taken to another.
Yeah, so, the Craft Trade Collective, is my maker's place that I'm starting, in town. And, one of its main focuses and models is upcycling. So fabrics, anything that's in their clothing, I will be hosting and myself also, upcycling things that have been in there for too long, or things that I find that I could make. I wanna do trash art workshops with, the school. I would like to be a part of the mentorship program next year. And just do some upcycling workshops, trash fashion. So the whole point of the Craft Trade Collective, it's a maker's place with an emphasis on recycling, upcycling,
Quilts would be.
and reusing. Yeah, I mean, I want people from the community who do quilting, to come and teach workshops. I would love people from the community who have skills. I know people, there's a doll maker in town. Teach people how to make dolls out of old clothes, things like that. So, that's that's a big reason why I decided to kind of take on the free box, was because it's just right in line with our motto.
Do you have a different space you're gonna be working out of?
So I have my studio now, up at my house. I'm, hoping to find a place in town. I've actually been in communication very briefly with Benji and Michelle and Noemi and Chris for that space that Benji and Michelle own, the big metal building, on the corner coming into town. So that's a possibility, but right now, I'm really just hosting it in my workshop at my home.
Mm.
So until I find a larger space, I'll be doing that.
Any more discussion? You had discussion on Zoom? All in
No.
favor?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, congratulations.
Thanks.
And thank you for taking on the free bus
Yeah,
project.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see, it's my turn.
You'll have to sign that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Happy to.
Dana, do you have access? Cause I don't.
I have the document, I just shared it with you, Ariel.
Okay.
So we can print it and.
Sign it at,
As long as he's here,
yeah.
should we find a net?
We'd have to print it, I just come back,
Tomorrow. Or
does that work?
I guess I'll come in, just to go to the town office to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just text him. Okay.
Next, we're gonna move up, Kristen Energy Fair permit with Goldie.
I got Braylon papers for you guys for that too. There's two stacks. One of each. And pass them around the whole. Those other two.
One's for the road closures and one's for the properties.
So on,
Yeah.
you mean that. But just to say that, the event committee kind of determined that until we get like a real resolution and have it built into our code that how we do events, you guys are still kind of grandfathered in, but I know that you're still willing to use some of the advice from the event committee as much as you can, and then next year, we're gonna have a little more, we'll have deposits, we'll have, plans for parking, plans for, emergencies, egress and all that, so.
So we are asking for permission to use the town for the Crestline Energy Fair. It's September 14th and 15th this year. We included in the parking plan a map of where we're gonna have parking. Also, the roads that we're going to want to close off is actually just, what is it called, West Silver? Down by the park, because that's where the food vendors are going to be. And then also the northwest quadrant in front of the Bliss Inn. We were gonna have that blocked off too, but keeping traffic flow open behind the Elephant Cloud so you guys can get deliveries. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, the street closure is, Silver, like down toward Pearl Park?
Yeah,
Or it's not Pearl
or
Park,
towards the creek.
Creekside Park.
Yeah,
And then, you know, that the only thing is just making sure that, Kyrena has access to be able to get in.
All emergency vehicles.
And emergency, obviously, they're gonna,
Yeah, there's, I think in the plan, it mentions having. Dedicated volunteers specifically in that area to manage the traffic through there.
I wonder One thing,
and residents trying to get in and out, emergency vehicles.
one thing I noticed, was, where is it? That you were requesting to open up the restrooms at Creekside Park,
Yeah,
and you're willing to clean them?
we were just wondering if that would be an option, if that's.
Oh, it's totally an option if you wanna get down in there and do it.
Well, yeah, I guess we should ask what does it require?
It is, yeah, most of the septic people that come to town refuse because people stuff. Clothing, household trash, the last person that. Had to dig out stuff. Is sitting right over there, but nonetheless, you won't do it again. That's why it was closed, because people were abusing it.
Yeah,
But if you're willing to clean it, we'll open it up.
well, so is it like it has to get pumped out by like Browns?
No, they won't do it.
Okay,
So what's the deal? Are those composting toilets?
No, it's a vault
It's a vault, like a.
that you would pump out normally. But it's because of the household trash and mattresses, sleeping bags, stuff down in their bottles,
yeah,
tin cans. People just abused it.
Okay.
And that's why it was locked up.
yeah,
And you know, I don't wanna tear them down. I think it's needed down there. But if people would just respect what we can provide, it's great, but Browns won't touch it, Montague won't touch it.
Why don't you, before we open it, have somebody lined up that would touch it?
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to bring that back to the next energy fair meeting.
Okay, that's a biggie,
Yeah,
because I'd love to open them up, because I'm 62. When I gotta go, I gotta go. Okay. But, yeah, I just noticed that on this piece of paper, but now the rest of it looks all good to me.
So, excuse me, I assume that the event is going to be held in the town park.
All three.
all three parks, the Little Pearl Park, the town park and the Creekside.
All three parks.
Yeah.
Okay, so all three will be paid for, is it one deposit or three deposits?
Are you saying that the Energy Fair has talked about just paying the fees and they're okay with that?
Paying the,
Park fees?
yeah,
So $1,200?
I think I don't think we got that many, what was it? Oh, cause it was all three parks for 2 days, it's 100 per park
So
per day.
300.
So we don't count setup as a debt?
Yeah, we do. Okay.
Oh, we don't need,
So we've got Thursday and Fridays set up for the town, so it would be 5 days for the town park. And then 2 days for Creekside Park.
It's 100 per day per park. And refundable train up deposit is $250. Electricity is 25, water use 25. Business license, blah, blah.
What is the electrical use that we can provide
They
people?
plug in for music, lighting.
Where is the electric?
It's in the basement here,
Yeah.
for this part.
Okay.
It's also repaired.
And then the water use means that we'll open up the spigots.
Yeah, and, Pearl Park has its own electricity down in Alton.
A little Pearl Park this.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's on the panel?
That's what I was thinking.
What was your question?
Yeah.
The
so
water,
it's 25 per plug-in,
I understand it's just 1.5.
okay, and same with the
Per day.
water, cause there's a hydrant down at Creekside Park, right?
I understand it is per day.
Okay,
Well, water usage, there's only one well here.
The spigot,
That one's not hooked up yet.
spigot down at the Creekside is what you're talking about?
yeah,
That one works, right?
Yeah.
So what about the fees?
so it's 7 days, 5 days, including setup and breakdown for town park. 2 days for Creekside, so that's 700 there.
That's just the usage.
And that's the usage.
And what about Pearl?
Oh, right. Why,
So I
so
have
why are
1,200 for the parks, I have 150 for water and electric hookup, and then 250 as a refundable deposit.
Right,
Did you say 150 for water and electric?
Yeah,
Because it's,
cause it's.
25.
okay,
Well. I could recalculate that actually, based on no, it would just be per day, cause you said it wasn't per park, so let's say, we saying 3 days, or we saying 5 days,
well, we're really only saying 2 for electric and water,
okay.
just the day of, because I don't think we'll maybe.
So then I
we'll
amend
need
that to,
For setup,
We don't need motions to be set up.
so
What
I
about-
amend that to 100 for electric and water.
yeah,
And what about, you guys are gonna be responsible for trash and the
yeah.
Fourth of July.
and since.
Can we clarify the usage fees?
The usage fee
Yeah,
for the electric and water,
for the parks.
for the parks.
Yeah.
Yes, I have 500 for Little Pearl Park,
Mhm.
that's 5 days at $100. 500 for Town Hall Park,
Oh, sorry, wait, we don't, Little Pearl Park, we would only need for 2 days. The setup days that we need 5 days for is just for the main town park.
so the other two are 200, or 2 days?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
So that's 900.
900.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Mhm.
And you're gonna get 6 porta potties, that's cool.
I'm sure we'd love to just donate to parks, but we can't.
We can't. We did in the past, but
And then what time are you guys planning on ending? I didn't see that. 7:30 is the
Yeah, so well, 7 and then
7.
7:30 for like announcements. But 7 for music.
Okay.
are you gonna have T-shirts for your security?
Yeah, we are having,
Or
well,
badges
at
or
least,
something?
yeah, some kind of marker and also with, for the volunteers that are walking around with like parking information and event information.
And then the only thing was really making sure that people are not parking north of basically the center of Galena.
Not parking there, right?
Because, I mean, their driveway has been blocked a number of times. People have pulled in, had kids going into that shed, which is not good.
Yeah.
So really marking that off, and I'd say anything north of Galena is just off, maybe even going,
Yeah, they should be able to park up the roads.
Yeah.
not up,
So long
not
as
up,
they don't block
some of
the
the residential
driveway.
roads, so we've had so many problems with Cottonwood. That's where we get complaints is on Cottonwood.
Now, when Sean had a problem when they
Do you mean
blocked
people
his.
going over towards like Iron and in that direction?
No, I'm talking about going up Cottonwood past Galena,
Okay.
Wendy, that was a big thing.
Urban.
I just like that area closed. I don't know so much about this.
We
area.
can't close it.
No.
They can put residential parking only.
I mean, I would see
Sign.
people parking at the old schoolhouse.
Right.
I would see people parking up Alder.
I don't know what
side
that-
of the
I don't know
road.
I don't know if that's so good.
As long as- If somebody's gotta get out in a hurry, somebody's having a heart attack or an ambulance needs to get in, they need to keep their driveways open. Yeah, and we could put up pylons or that's property owners kind of duty that says, don't park here.
Well,
Okay?
we
But,
did go around to with,
But,
No
other
parking
than
space.
that, it's a public street.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not saying, all I'm saying is that the main complaints we've gotten was from Cottonwood Street.
yeah.
Um,
And we can definitely even just have volunteers like kind of patrolling that zone specifically.
and the only other thing was driveways, like, we had that one at the music festival where it just blocked one of the driveways
Yeah.
in downtown, and it was like pretty easy to move them, but
So, I think that's very important, and I think the idea of if the town has any things available, yellow cones, whatever. And to make sure that driveways are not blocked, and to make sure that there's a good room to where you can actually really pull in and out of that. But I think, on North Cottonwood, as Adam said, up by the museum, those streets. That's places where people can indeed park, and in a lot of ways, it's a safer place to park because. It
There's less
isn't
people.
congesting the downtown so much, and The one thing I also wanted to mention on your map is directly across from the Crestone Eagle. Of having people do pull-in parking. Rather than people wanna end up parallel parking. I had talked to Nick, oh, I don't know, the other day. And suggested to him that the easy way to do it is if you take a big bag of flour and you cut a little corner of it. You can use it to mark parking, so as an example, the place right across from the Eagle and where the Saturday market across from the park is. You get this kind of configuration of some people pulling in, some people parking parallel. By using a bag of flour, you can mark lines that show people to pull in, and you can do that in other areas of where to encourage that, and the rains will just wash the flour away as a way of marking, parking. I did want to ask about the porta potties, and I would suggest that you might have a couple set up down at Creekside and then have other ones set up at the town park. So it's more accessible to both locations, split up the bathrooms rather than have them all be in one place.
Yeah, definitely, if we can't use the Creekside Park bathrooms, we will put porta potties down there. And then we were actually, we're gonna put them next to the brewery too, but we need to ask Scott since it's.
So one of the biggest complaints that we got was the way people were parking, blocking things. We really, and in residential areas, causing, when you park down there, and then people walk down there, and they're hanging out, they're tailgating out of the back of the cars in residential areas. We need to have more designated parking, and we've talked a lot about up Lime Street. Toward the school is really nice, good parking, people park and walk. Some of these closer areas should really be dedicated to older people and people who are handicapped, as opposed to trying to get that parking first. It should be more directed up Galena and up Lime Street, because those are the areas that can handle it more.
Right, and of course, I agree, I think there's some residential areas, if you live right next to downtown, you're gonna get that spillover anyhow, and. I would like to see if you're looking at pulling people to pull onto the grass. One of my biggest fears is fire, and so. We need to look at, evaluate some of these areas and say, do they need to be weed whacked or mowed or something ahead of time? Because we don't want cars parking on dry grass. And along with this, and we talked about it at one of the other meetings, is for the energy folks to make have some conversation with the fire department. It's something that's not directly your responsibility, but I think, part of networking is we end up having a lot of people coming into town and boondocking, camping above town on, going up Galena. The campground only holds 13 sites, and so people are going to, boondock, and my concern is unattended fires, and so whether it's announcements for the stage, or it's having people who do a little patrol, or an agreement with the Peace Patrol or the fire department, to have some people who are keeping an eye on, and there's a really awareness of not having unattended fires at campgrounds. And
which I believe the Peace Patrol does, like, they already try to make a point, so, yeah, just like.
just an awareness, just have an awareness. And the other thing we have really talked about with the parking, it's very important. You've got somebody overseeing parking to make sure that we have good 2-lane traffic coming in and out of town for emergency vehicles if we should need it. And so whether or not you got some people on bicycles who are helping to say, hey, pull it in a little bit more, don't park here. I think our biggest complaints were noise, and it seems like we've got that covered, and then parking was the other one. Yeah.
Parking egress, you call it.
Do you?
Have a turn? There.
Yes.
Yes. There was something that you had mentioned that I've got to address here, and when we're directing vehicles to park on gravel roads, of course, they're not going to stay in the middle of the road. And this is the situation that has led to a great deal of deterioration of the road's edge and the drainage ditches that parallel the road. Cars going in and out of there, and that needs to be looked at real closely before we start directing them off onto streets like Galena and in Lime, which I understand during the last rainfalls have suffered quite a bit of damage. This is just going to encourage that. So that's all I have to say.
Is there a way to fix it so that afterward that we can go, and actually come back and take, take some of the, I mean, that's partly why we're charging these fees, is so that we have money to be able to do, the work of cleanup, because there's always extra no matter what, and preparation, so.
I think number one, trying to restrict the cars to stay on where the curb and gutter is might be helpful.
Drew's saying no.
Pardon me?
Drew's shaking his head no. What was your suggestion?
That he was saying that you want to keep them on the paved roads. These roads are too narrow.
Yeah, there's not really enough parking in this town to begin with. We really need to know how to go back and actually fix our roads. I mean, it's kind of the responsibility of the town, so we just need to make sure that we do that.
It is the responsibility of the town, but when we identify something that's creating that problem time and time again, and it was spoke about immediately after last year's events.
It was, but we don't have a lot of extra anywhere, and the parking situation is kind of really a struggle. There could be park and walk, there could be shuttles, things like that, but it becomes another level of planning, which I would recommend, but I also feel like those are the streets that need to be used for parking.
Well, I could go on and on how our roads got messed up because of our wonderful idea of hiring this snowplow person that dug all the gravel up and put it in the sides, in the bar ditches, and our roads look like Jeep roads. That's beside the point. Nonetheless, we're just discussing the energy fair right now, okay? I could go all day and tell you about what
We
did
have a chance
wrong.
to talk about public works later.
Yeah, but what we're talking about right now is just the energy fair. And let's stick to the point. And I think it seems like y'all have your act together and you're really researching and doing your due diligence. And I'm all game for it. And I hope it's gonna be a good festival.
Would you make a motion to approve it?
I make the motion that we approve the energy fair for 2 days, but however the money part,
All the setup and cleanup.
set up, clean up 6 porta potties. And we'll discuss pending the Creekside vault toilets. Is it $100 a day?
We got it worked out, $900 total.
Okay, 900. And are we really gonna charge for setup and tear down?
Yeah,
On the main part, yes.
Okay. Okay,
because they're using it.
can you work that into the motion?
It's in there. We got it.
Okay.
Do you wanna just repeat it back real quick?
There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the energy fair with the porta potties, parking plan, and
Street closure.
street closure to revisit the opening of the Creekside Park vault. For the sign.
And charge accordingly for the rent, the usage fees and electricity and the deposit and water use. Is there a second? You're gonna recuse yourself?
Yeah.
Is there a second? Susan? Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Unanimous except for Dana who recused herself.
Right now, we checks, one for the fees and then one for the deposits, so I can just give that.
Okay, cool. When do you, do you send me a bill for all of that, or do we just give you a rec?
And then we can check,
Okay.
it would be for 1,100.
1,100 or 1,150?
1,100 and then
And then
250.
250, gotcha.
Refundable deposit.
Cool.
Hey, Ben.
Yes,
My name is Brett Buchanan, and I work at the Energy Fair and I'm the lead builder, main filer.
nice.
And we will work with Trey on any kind of maps or needs that he has from a fire department standpoint. And if you want to review fire.
Ideally, you just have like an emergency coordinator, somebody who's like just in charge of all like fire, emergency egresses,
Okay.
ambulance, and just at the point person.
Okay, that's fine, because we're in charge of the setup in the park, so
Okay.
we can work with him and.
Yeah, just
Get all.
have like a one person that points to, so.
Okay.
Thank you for putting together.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lily.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. We have apartment rental, work trade, and apartment rental applications. So there's been 2 applications. Let's get you guys up here first.
I haven't seen either.
I think one of them is in here.
We had like lots of things to do.
We'll just listen. What's your proposal?
Okay. Hi, so I'm Kyle, this is Brett, we're local builders in town, and we just recently found out that the apartment upstairs is available. After going up and looking, we realized that it needs a lot of work. And so we were considering, or we were asking you to consider work trade, we would be contributing about $20,000 to $25,000 in materials and labor bricks to restore the entire apartment. And what we would ask for that is, 1 year, 5-year lease.
5 year or 1 year?
5-year lease, but the first year be paid for off of our work. And then we could up the apartment cost from $1,200 to $1,400 after that, just because it's gonna be worth more money.
So it would be free rent for a year?
Yep.
And where would that 25,000 go?
It would go into the renovations.
Because I built that place.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like,
Okay,
yeah.
I know what's involved and I know the porch has no, supports.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just an add-on.
Yeah, so we would like to,
Made pretty.
if you're okay with it, we'd like to, meet with one of you or 2 or 3 of you and review it.
Yeah.
But I know
Here.
I know the carpet's an issue.
And I could give you some pointers on what's wrong
Yeah,
with
sure.
stuff, but, and 25 is probably pretty reasonable.
yeah, that's kind of what we.
But I would want itemized statements
Definitely, of
and, that type of thing.
We can give you a complete
It's worth
breakdown.
considering.
So where would the 5-year thing come in? Yeah, we can't do multi-year contracts.
No, you can't do the whole thing.
Why?
So if I may, can we have,
Yes.
the trustees speak first?
Sure.
So I'm not in favor of doing trades. I think it muddies the waters, and I think the idea of somebody paying their rent. And then if we wanna hire the people to do the work, I think it keeps it really clear and clean as to what's being done. I say this as somebody who ran a business and did trades. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but I think it's cleaner that way. We know what the expectations are. You pay the rent, we pay for the construction. And when we also look at our own budgeting process, we count on X amount of money that's coming in for rent off of that apartment, and it's real clear for our budgeting what we're doing. And then we look at X amount of money that's being spent towards building repair. We had also gotten that one grant for helping to do improvements on the building, so we have that kind of aspect that could be integrated, but I really would rather see it just be real clear. You pay rent, we pay you to do the repairs.
Okay.
And then trying to mix those two things up, and a lot of it has to
That's
do
a
with.
good point, kid.
I mean, you can just start going down, oh, well, you know, how much did you work and how
Mayor?
much things. It keeps it a lot
Yes.
cleaner.
I see,
Mayor?
1 second, one. Yes, trustee.
Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say if we were gonna do a lease rental trade, we would have had to advertise that as a possibility for anybody. And because the numbers they're talking about are in excess of $5,000.
Right, that's what Warren
Yeah.
was trying.
I
Oh.
think I second kissing with that. Be better to, we need a catch coming to town too, so be more easy. Rent the apartment, they want to do the job, is fine, but different
Yeah.
things.
I'm with you on that. I agree as well.
$5,000 limit, so what we can do as far as. Yeah, so if we, if we're gonna do any work on anything, we have to go out for bid, publicly.
If it's above
If it's above 5,000.
Okay.
So,
What's y'all's motivation to spend $25,000 for a $14,000?
We're looking for a spot downtown.
mhm,
We've got a business called Flex Valley Village Alliance, and we are a builders guild. And we are a for-profit business, but we build homes in the area, but we're also trying to work with natural builders. And trying to keep the codes out, but also improve natural building across the board, but also offer education and training for builders in the whole county.
So if you had a 4-year lease after construction, it would be not necessarily a residential?
It's not residential, it's primarily business.
mhm.
It's gonna be just meeting space, office space.
So
You do have a cool.
would you be interested in signing a lease on the building as is and running a business out of it?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we are.
but there would need to be improvements. I mean, number one thing for me is the carpet. It's, it's past due and, it's got some kind of smells up there, so I want a comfortable place for it to come,
Yeah, so with that, if it sounds like by and large, people aren't comfortable with the work trade sort of agreement, but. Yeah, how do we go about then, if they wanna make renovations to it, which, any. Like, there could be tenants that we might not feel comfortable making renovations to the space because of their capabilities, but. We've got two people who are capable of doing things. And so, I guess,
Is there a limit to how many people we can have in that apartment, only because of the foundational things that we've had? I mean, I know we're supposed to have a limit in here, but we've kind of been.
I don't think if it's a business that
Yeah.
there would problem.
Yeah, it's just there's certain improvements we wanna make to make it
I mean, you're
more.
gonna have 30 people up there asking you for work.
It's just that I don't wanna bring clients into a room that smells like cactus.
Right.
And I don't want them tripping over stairs because the height of the stair tread is too tall or the stair riser. I kind of want to make it a little more comfortable for bringing clients up.
So I mean, obviously, we would have to limit like parties and things like that,
definitely.
and then also,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but like for kids. Especially, it could be really dangerous.
Yes.
You have, little guys up there.
Yeah,
because
that's why I was leaning more towards business as opposed to family, is because of the stairs.
Yes,
Kids, they get loose
yes.
and, elderly people and one thing or another.
So if we have this $5,000 limit, what we could do is just create.
Well, I think, like Kizin suggested, that if we just, keep the rent. Sign a maybe year's lease,
Okay.
and then if you have some, like carpet. We're the tenants,
Yeah.
we should replace that.
We're not the tenants, we're the landlords.
Well, I mean, we're the landlords.
Yeah.
But any rental, I mean, we have to keep it up. That's our responsibility. I mean, as far as the carpet is concerned, that's not on your ticket, that's on our ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, if you rent apartments or B&Bs or one thing.
I mean, we did lower
But, that kind of thing, we could probably cover, we'll find it.
Okay.
Major construction, that would have to go out for bid.
But I would like to actually see, I know we've kind of started on this. What really are the priorities on renovation upstairs? First of all, of course, anything structural. You know, if there's broken windows or there's things that,
Which
what
there
are the
is.
priorities?
There's a broken window.
Right, and so what are the priorities that we wanna have done? And then,
We've already approved for a new fridge, get rid of that fridge, because the mechanical room obviously is blocked by the fridge because it won't fit in the space where the fridge is supposed to go.
Okay.
So we already are getting a new fridge for that space.
The fridges would go.
There's a spot for it, it just doesn't fit, it's too big, and it fits in that doorway, but
It shouldn't, because that's where the hot water heater is and the.
what I would say is if we approve your lease, what we do is just like when something comes up, or you guys make a list of things that you wanna do.
Yeah.
And how much it will cost, and then we just do it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, my thought was just, I'd like.
I don't think so. I think that's complicate a lot to us to bring a third party for any expenses that we need to do. Right now, it's costing a lot more time to discuss this ones to do this accommodation. So if they want to rent it, it's fine.
But if they wanna improve it, then what?
That's the issue I see arising is because we
Yes.
don't. We've already like, Ariel and I brought up the floor and that the carpet needed to come out.
That's
And-
my responsibility.
No, but what I'm saying is we already brought that up. And then we decided to lower the rent in order to accommodate for the fact that it did need
Exactly.
specifications. And so I think, the whole premise of the work trade is that it wouldn't be costing us anything other than the rent. And so if Kyle and Brad come forward and they wanna replace the floor and then we're like, we don't have the money for it. That's kind of like counterintuitive to them wanting to be there.
I got a
Exactly.
question. What's your sense of urgency?
I mean, as soon as we can get it cleaned up and, I'd like to be in there, it'd be nice to have nice office space and start working on the business.
Right, so if we wanted to advertise for a month for a work trade option,
Like Kirsten said, I don't choose that. I like this.
well, we've only got $3,000 in our.
Hold on a second. Can I say
Repairs.
something?
In a minute, we've only got $3,000 in our repairs and maintenance. So we're gonna turn down $25,000 worth of work
But
for
the
a 5-year
rent-
lease.
The rent is gonna,
Which would be collective over the month.
No,
So
we've only got $3,000 in repairs and maintenance for buildings in our budget. So even if we get more money from them for rent, we still only have $3,000 in our budget for repairs and maintenance.
that just goes to the general.
It goes through the general,
So we're hoping to supplement our budget, so we could supplement it in a way,
right? That's what we would have to do.
we have to do it anyways,
And
because
which
we already
case
know
we
we're.
would still have to advertise. For either somebody to do, 4 to $10,000 worth of work in there and supplement our budget. Which still we're not getting $25,000 worth of professional quality work done.
And Dennis.
Dennis, that's a Dennis. Okay, Dennis, speak.
Yeah, in my experience, in these type of situations, the business moving in usually is responsible for the total cost of whatever renovations they have to do to suit their particular business. And there is no break.
I mean, I concur, and the space is not really rentable with the smell of cat piss and broken windows. So yes and no, I agree.
And that wouldn't address structural items, because usually if it's a structural item, the landlord is responsible for that. If it's finishes, sure.
So what
Yeah.
happened with last tenants that we have it? Why that department is to destroy? Who destroyed the department? The last person was there, right?
One of our employees.
It's been an
Exactly,
ongoing.
so
The
it's
last-
always is good promise for everything, but we don't know that this company has insurance, they can provide insurance for any damage they do to the building.
Yeah, we'll have a deposit as well.
no matter what. Go ahead.
I totally hear what you're saying, Kizen, like having also experienced the work trade rigmarole, like recognize that it doesn't always work out well. But I would vouch for Brett and Kyle, and like they're two people who are really involved in the community. They show up when they say they're gonna show up. And then to Adam's point, like the offer that we're getting for the amount of work they're willing to do and the materials that they can bring to it, you know, Warren makes a good point with the 5,000 thing. We have to find a way to work that out. Maybe it's through continuing to advertise as a work trade, sort of.
So let's hear, Warren, your comments, and just in a,
Spending over $5,000, it has to,
Go out for bid.
work has to, you're asking for, has to go out to bid.
okay, so,
Pure, simple, anything with this mixing and matching and
So-
taking this and that, it's flawed, okay? If you-
We've already confirmed that we would advertise. What's your next point?
we'll advertise.
But you guys aren't paying for the $5,000.
You're paying for the $5,000.
Regardless, we'll advertise. Do you have another point? Do you have anything besides the advertising?
So basically what we could
Hold
do,
on. Do you have anything besides the advertising concern?
Yes,
What is it?
I concur with Kizen's view that work, trade agreements do not
okay,
work.
so let's take that off the table.
Well, let's not.
You guys-
The table.
I don't wanna take it off the table. I think that we could build in something into the lease that would protect us if there were. If, you know, if you guys weren't holding up your end of the deal, we would have recourse to.
No, Adam, what did you say, we had 3,000 left? As far as,
No, we started out with 3,000, and we probably
We don't know.
already spent that,
okay,
and we don't know where we're at.
so. Actually, as the landlord, we should replace the carpet and paint. I mean, every time a tenant moves or comes, okay, it was painted.
I painted on work trade,
Right on.
I got traded.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the deal. Now, when we're talking structural stuff, that's a different thing. That would go to bid.
Yes.
But, and talk to me, because I helped build her.
No, I'm curious. I have questions.
I can answer them.
But we do have insurance as well as a business. So we are covered with that.
Copy for our.
Yes.
Trustee Pazuski?
Yes, I wanted to talk to the contractor. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about changing the floor plan upstairs? Now, I've never been up there. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how many bedrooms. I don't know where the bearing walls are at. But are you
Basically,
planning
no
on
bedrooms.
changing?
It's an open floor plan. There's,
Tri-level.
there's 3 levels going up from kind of like a sun porch up to the kitchen area and then up onto like a living room space. That's no bedrooms at all. It's basically a studio.
But yes, no changes.
No changes to the floor plan.
So what
And-
was our, what was
I'm not-
our rate?
I'm not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I still had another question. That's okay. With the renovation, if the carpet's pulled up and the floor underneath is soaked as well, was that part of your estimate?
Yeah, it's not pulling up the plywood, but you can feel it.
Yeah, you know what, it's. Area.
Well, we can assess at that point in
I
time.
mean,
but-
I know where that wood came from.
So is there a plan? It was $1,200 was the rent
Mhm.
as a resident.
So what are we asking for rent?
$1,200 was what we advertised
Okay,
because it needed the work.
all right, so I think what this will call for then is a real clear agreement. So basically, we're looking at essentially paying them $1,200 a month.
No, I think that's 12.
No, but no, I'm saying if they're working on the building, we basically are paying them $1,200 a month to do work. So if they're doing a job and it comes out to be, say, $10,000 worth of work, we're paying them for that work at the rate of $1,200 a month. which is basically, I mean, they're not doing $25,000 worth of work in, 6 months and we're done. But and when we look at it as doing the numbers, they're getting $1,200 a month worth of, rent. And so we need to figure out how, if they put in 20 grand, how are they getting that money reimbursed back to them?
Okay, you're getting way overboard. Number one, they're not gonna change the structure at this juncture.
Yeah,
At
but
all.
I'm just saying,
Okay,
before
you
we
just
get
need
to.
it, set up, get business started and go from there. Now, you can go investigate later what needs done. We can discuss that at a later date.
Yeah.
We're
I
not
think
talking
Kisen's
about.
requesting more clarity.
Please let me finish.
That's pretty
I think
structural.
we're entering into a financial agreement with these gentlemen who are professional contractors. And I think for the town safety and their safety and just good business practice, we need to determine the amount of money work that we're doing initially. And they would probably be putting up front a chunk of work equity credit. And they are getting repaid basically at the amount of $1,200 a month. So after 10 months, it's $12,000 that they're getting reimbursed. And so we need to be clear on what
I
that.
thought you didn't wanna do a trade though. Why don't they just?
Just seeking clarity.
No, but clarity would be this, they pay $1,200 a month. When they need something done, they come to us and they say, we wanna replace this. And then they give us a quote for how much it costs, and we decide if we wanna do it. That's clear. I mean, otherwise, it's like, there's too much confusion, and then if it goes over 5,000, we go out for bid. I mean, we just, the clarity is that we just rent the space. And then when they need something done, we just work with them, up to a certain.
Yeah.
What?
Trying to get around the law.
We're not getting around any law.
You're getting around the law.
No.
By not advertising,
You're spending more than $5,000.
we haven't said anything about that,
Yeah.
They said it.
but that's not what we're agreeing
Yeah,
on.
we already committed to advertising, going out to bid.
That's not what we're agreeing on.
And you know,
If
Warren,
you're giving it free rent, it's over.
We're not giving them free rent. I just said, listen, Warren, listen, I said they pay $1,200 a month for rent. It goes into our, what we receive.
And when we work it, it's up to more than $5,000.
We're not gonna do more than 5,000.
He's talking about 25,000.
He talked about it.
I'm sorry?
It was across the year.
So 25, it doesn't.
We're not doing 25,000.
You're a nice guy.
You know what, Warren, you know what? I would gladly relinquish this chair so that you could sit in here and fix everything.
Okay, this is getting way off
It is.
topic.
Let's just say one thing. We're renting the space to them. If there's small improvements up to $5,000 for the year, that's it. We'll do small improvements. And then
I
if they
thought-
need big
I-
improvements done, we'll go out for bid.
So I imagine to
Is
replace
that-
the floors is about $3,000. Right? That seems.
Say again?
Replacing
The
the
floors
floors.
is about $3,000.
We could even go out for bid for that.
There was not a second application for the apartment, or it's only one?
There's two. And, yeah, and I wouldn't do the tri-level like,
There's another application as well for residents.
but that
So,
was.
what?
You're fine for everything else that needs to go out for bid, you know, so if we're gonna rent the apartment, you know, we can give you the money. And then as we assess different things and you working with us to assess these things. If the item is maybe structural, if it was over $5,000, it goes out for bid and then the job gets done. I just want a nice office.
The other thing is that if you have improvements you're gonna make, you're probably gonna do them on your own anyways, just to make the place nicer.
And basically structurally, the whole place is pretty sound.
Yes.
The floors, you know, it doesn't need to be tri-level, there's this much room underneath. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
those are things.
the ceiling are about this high
Okay,
upstairs.
okay,
Yeah, but the porch,
If,
the porch, however, it was a Band-Aid
Okay,
slapped on, so that is not structurally sound.
okay.
So anyway, that's why I wanted to talk to you, and the attic.
Hey, Benji,
Yes,
sorry.
Armando.
So is this going to be a business? Is it going to have a schedule like a business, or is it going to be every 24 hours? Is be people there overnight? What's the situation?
Business.
I mean,
My-
it's in a, I know it's in apartment and people spend the night there, but this is a business going to be 24 hours or only 8
They'll
to
have
8?
to follow the sign laws. If you guys have signs, you'll have to just follow that.
Open.
And then maybe on the lease, we just figure
Not
out.
be allowed to be there working after hours if you would in business.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you know, but.
So we do have one more applicant that we need to listen to.
He's not here, he sent an email, it's a single father with 2 children. He wants to, I have this here, I just want to include his social security and everything on the.
Nobody,
Is Kyle Campbell? I forgot him.
I think so.
probably, and nobody, everybody understands we would be, breaking the law if we mentioned his children.
What?
Understood?
What?
You can't be saying we can't rent to them because he has
Oh,
children and
no,
it's dangerous.
And he understands, he's seen the apartment, he understands the danger that.
So-
I still feel like we're not really have clarity around how we might deal with these guys renting the apartment.
I would request that you guys put together a proposal of all of the things and detailed costs of what you think that space needs.
Yeah.
And then we
Can I
go
make-
from there.
Can I say something?
Yes, Dan.
If that is done and we look at those numbers and then decide we're gonna go out to bid, that is really out of the process. It's
That's not-
essentially giving any bidder, potential bidder, their numbers. And
Yeah,
I don't see that to be
bidder
the
wants
correct
to
way to
spend-
go.
I think if any other bidder wants to spend $25,000 for a $14,400 year-long lease, then let them knock their lights out.
But that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we would be going out for bid for. At that point, the rental becomes separate from the renovation. So if somebody knew that that building was going out for renovation work and they wanted to bid it, they would be entitled to do that without renting it.
But what I'm saying is if they give us a list that explains everything and then we don't have any costs on it, they don't put their costs on it, they just say what needs to be done.
They don't even know what's wrong with it yet.
But they're gonna find things. I mean, there's already a window that's broken that needs to be fixed.
So I don't think we're trying to push you guys to open it up for bid to do the renovation just for the hell of it. You know, we're just trying to find a space to rent and we're willing to give some sweat equity in replace for rent
Right.
for a little bit of time. And right now it's just the carpet.
And then as we follow into other things that need it, then they go out to bid.
But it seems a little strange to open up the bid to all other bidders because you guys don't have the money to do the renovations. And there's really no need to do the renovations except for the carpet at this point in time.
So. If we look at $1,200 a month, that's, as Adam said, that's $14,400 that the year's rent would generate towards work. I think having these guys rent a place and then fix it up and run a business out of there, I'm in favor of this. I'm just looking at the structure of an agreement that we're handling it. I mean, if it was my property, I could do whatever I want. I could go, yeah, well, we'll, fix my house up and live there and I can work it out. But because we're a public town, we have to be careful on how we structure agreements. And so that's just what I'm looking at, is how are we structuring this agreement that we're legal? I think if you guys being up there and doing $14,000 worth of work in the first month, which means you now have a rent credit with us. I'm just looking at how to structure this legally. You guys are professionals, you know, you do contracts all the time with people. So basically, you're entering into a contract with town that is different than just being a rental and we're gonna pay you $1,200 a month. I also want to bring up that, you know, if this continues into year 2 and we're like, they do $25,000 worth of work, then they have this much credit with us. That
We can't do that, though, that's the point, is that.
So this is what I'm saying is, we need to structure this agreement to where it's legal.
Okay, then I make a motion that we invest money into replacing the carpet and offer them a year-long lease at $1,200. And that can be 2 separate motions if you want.
It should probably.
I will second that part of the motion. I would like to see a contract though, a preliminary.
Let's just
A
keep
le-
one
a
thing separate,
leasing
We'll-
contract.
let's, let's keep it separate.
Okay, then I make a motion that we replace the carpet and rental.
And I would second that motion, because
No.
that's a standalone motion.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you wanna do the rental first or no?
Nope. I don't think we should rent it if it smells like cat piss and it's toxic.
Okay. Is there?
However, I don't know if that's gonna do more than $5,000.
Oh, I don't think so.
I wouldn't do it for less than.
More discussion, okay.
I have a question, Adam, about your motion. Is that motion tied together with the rental of the unit?
No, I'm making a motion that we replace the carpet.
Period.
That ends up being more than $5,000 and it has to go out to bid.
Okay.
What were you saying, Kyle?
We just found out about the apartment Thursday, so we found out that there was a town hall meeting today. We just put in, so this is really just kind of, as far as I'm concerned, just entertain it, bring it up, and then, you know, we haven't done any work on the cost of renovation, and this, it's just our initial walkthrough, it's kind of the things that we've seen. So there is a great deal of paperwork that needs to be done to actually outline all the different costs, what needs to be done, and then structure the agreement that we might.
We have another meeting in 2 weeks. The reason I made the motion is because spending 3,000 on renovations is one thing, but we're also counting on having $1,200 a month in rental.
Well,
income
and
for
we
the
need
next
to
year.
replace. the
So we
carpet.
need to move forward, and I would say that we need to replace the carpet, so that motion is on the table. And if they don't wanna rent with the carpet replaced, then I'm gonna make a motion, we rent to Kyle, cause we need to be getting an income off of that space. So I made a motion.
So we only
replace
have
the carpet.
2,500, not 3,000, because we already put 500.
Yeah, we're gonna have to supplement. So
Carpet's $4 a square foot.
there's no telling what carpet is right now.
Mhm.
I make a motion to replace the carpet, if it costs over $5,000, we go out to bid.
And I said second.
Second.
And now we're just, yes, trustee Paslewski?
I suspect after what they said and what I've heard from other people say, that the plywood or 1x4 or hardwood, whatever's underneath that carpet is gonna be saturated with urine. So whatever we're gonna spend for the removal and the replacement of the carpet may only be a fraction of the cost if we have to replace that subflooring. So just, we're gonna have to be prepared for that.
So
This,
I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, that it's just a bad excuse to not do it. Is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hear what you're saying, that it's gonna cost more than we think, but the plywood being saturated with urine is more of a reason, in my opinion, to do something about it.
Right.
and this is why we were also thinking about, you know, the money that we would be contributing, it's probably not just the carpet. It would be, you know, adjusting stair heights and different things of that nature. Because we don't really know the condition that the floors are in. We do know that the stair heights, they're not right and different things like that. It's just kind of, we just wanna get in, that's why we were thinking if we get in there and we start opening it up, we can see what we can do.
But also make it safer for anybody you wanna rent it to.
Yes.
Without costing you guys money. Yeah, you don't get the income right away,
Mhm.
but it doesn't cost you $5,000, it doesn't cost you $3,000, just to make $1,200.
It costs us $14,400 on paper. And that's significant.
The thing is, it's just two different budget items.
We can also,
One is for improvements and one is for our income, and they're two separate things, and so we have to keep them in the same, you know,
and
and
we can also work with you on that cost, and if you guys just wanna do the carpet, we could just do the
Okay,
carpet or the
let's
plywood.
discuss the rent
But
and
the whole thing,
that thing.
you know, cause we want you guys to make money, we want
Well,
you
how
guys.
about this? How about we just do, if we rent it to them and they're willing to do some of the work, even if they're just doing it because they need a better space, and we try to keep the cost as low as possible, and we replace the floor,
Yeah.
we'll chip in on it, but it's gotta, you know, we gotta keep it down.
We can work with you on your budget, and even if you wanna split it up where you're still making some per month,
Mhm.
and we're getting some discount per month.
So we're not
That's
doing the
fine.
trade, they're paying the rent, but because they wanna have it fixed. They put in some of their sweat equity into it, we put in some money to help them. And we come up with almost like a trade, you know, just so that they can have a better space.
I would prefer a term like reimbursement.
Reimbursed.
Than a trade, a reimbursement. I'm just looking to keep the figures clean. You're absolutely right. I had a friend who pulled up carpet that was urine soaked. And once they got that carpet out of there, they had to replace the whole floor in this bedroom. And sometimes if you know, you can get away with treating plywood maybe underneath or things to deal, you might be able to just do a treatment and you're okay, but you. won't
Never
know-
works.
Yeah, well, the problem is that it's like there's probably a floor underneath the subfloor.
The point is, the upstairs is the same as this room. We wanted to keep the ceiling, but we didn't wanna heat all
Yes.
this area.
Of course.
So we raised the floor. So underneath the floor is where the cats. So I don't think there's any problem with the floor. The floor is actually newer than the ceiling.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so anyway, rip that carpet up. It was used carpet when we put it in. Okay, so, let's just move on.
Well,
Well,
On the table for
Hey.
replacing the
Let's deal with the lease at this juncture, and then we can discuss any improvements or renovation.
Would you allow us to do a little bit of investigation?
Please,
I mean, cause if we could do a little bit of investigation, we could determine
take
cost.
your shot
See
back.
what has to get done.
I think investigation means pull up some carpet, right?
Or pull out a spot of carpet, see what's underneath.
Actually, you can get down there just from the, well, there's
There's the 3 foot crawl space.
crawl space. But take a shot back.
Yeah, mask, shop vac, 5X. Yeah.
So I would, let's bring it back in order. Let's. Can we eliminate that motion?
I can
Send
resend
that motion. No, I want to have this lease set. If you were gonna rent to these guys at $1,200 a month. And then we can figure out, go from there.
Okay.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Okay.
and then you guys can come back and, you know, we want to deposit, you know, security deposits.
Okay,
And we want to make sure that, you know, the lease is good as far as, you know, how many people you guys can have up there, just so that we're. You know, cause it is the center of town and.
Yeah.
We don't want.
Just to clarify, we were asking for first month's rent, last month's rent, and then $500 deposit for,
Is that what it is?
that's what I remember.
First month, last month, that's normal, but I would say the deposit should be,
And I think Adam's initial motion should stand.
well,
I
let's,
already rescinded it.
let's rescind it, because. We will replace it, but let's get these guys in there,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
okay,
Okay,
So can we clarify what the deposit is, just so I know?
And I want to throw just one more thing on the table here, just so everything's exposed. If we hired, not these gentlemen, somebody to come in, do $25,000 for the upstairs. Probably within the second year, the rent would go up because we have a newly remodeled facility. So I think that's something that we should look at as well. If we're square on this reimbursement, we should retain the option to be able to increase the rent.
I would just do a 1 month lease and we can talk about it, a 1 year
One
lease,
year.
1 year lease.
Talk about it. We were okay with that. We were
Well,
okay
really-
if we were gonna spend the time and the efforts and the money of updating it for you, it would be for the town to make more money off the rental.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's not in the best shape. But, is there a date in mind for when that would happen for,
Renegotiation.
no, for taking occupancy?
I make a motion that we offer these guys a 1 year lease at $1,200 and starting in August 1st.
August first.
You like that?
Second that.
Okay, yeah, it works.
But
Any more
would want
discussion?
I would want a conditional based upon what I find with that floor, because if it's a bigger can of worms.
Yeah, you don't have to sign the lease.
Okay, okay. Okay, fair enough.
Deposit.
With first and last months,
And deposit.
first and last months,
Just first and last one? No deposit?
$2,400, that is a deposit.
That's not usually a deposit, that's just.
First and last is 24.
But also, I thought first and last months meant that you don't have to. Okay, then. Plus a deposit, and you said 500,
That was what Miguel, that was the last.
which didn't cover the damage he did.
Goes to 2900.
But that's not their fault.
It's our fault
Yeah, sorry.
for having a $500 deposit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Um,
And giving it back to.
Fine, first and last months plus $600 deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Nay,
Armando's nay. Okay,
Okay.
now, does anybody want to make a motion to fix the floors up there and we figure out if it's more than a certain amount, we'll put in a certain amount, and then if it's more than that, we gotta just figure it out.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
I make a motion that we,
fix the floors.
fix the floors or replace the carpet.
I think it's fix the floors.
I mean,
How about we
is
make
it
a
fix the
motion,
floors?
how about we just investigate what it's gonna take to fix?
I
the floor?
agree.
I agree.
Okay,
I don't think.
we will do that next meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Well,
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so yeah, the motion is,
I don't even think we need a motion.
yeah, we'll just investigate.
Are you resending?
Yeah.
Okay.
rescinding the motion.
Very good.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for your time. That was really intense.
We made the first step.
No, but it's location.
Yeah, we get good looking.
Streets, it's worth everything.
We're gonna have this one coming up too.
I know.
Where do we stay? Or do
We already put in
Oh, it's on the side.
a letter to put notice. to put-
I really would like to see a written agreement. Work would be.
Thank you, guys.
Later, guys.
Thank you. Would be a credit, and I would like to, because it's this kind of a contract, I would like us, our attorney, to take a look at this. Because this is not a standard rental lease agreement, and I think we need to be really clear legally. And I would like to get clarification on this, putting it out for bid, the amount of work that we're looking at. I think we have to be really careful on this. And be clear about what our contractual agreements are with each other. We don't wanna come back and have somebody say, hey, we did all this work, but we're moving out, here's our bill.
you guys had to know that this is complicated and you guys like to get in trouble more and more. I don't know how you guys
How
even
is it
consider it.
complicated if we have a regular lease? If we remove-
I understand, but is when we take decisions month to month with no consequences. We, I think, you guys, donate your time to clean the carpet. We buy a machine to clean the carpet, right?
Let's,
All we're doing is
We did it.
Creating a year-long
That carpet, it still smells like happy.
let,
carpet's
let's take
20 years
let's take a
old.
7-minute break, please.
I didn't.
Sure.
Shorter than 10 and longer than 5.
One thing,
7.5.
one thing you gotta remember is that, if the renovations go on down here, you know, like it's still pending for getting this room fixed. If you have a family up there, it's a lot harder to move a family than it is just an office.
Right. That's
Well,
good.
and why fix the roof? Foundation is
Yeah,
getting.
true.
We're on break, let's take a break. Alright. Dennis, Armando, you guys there?
Yes, I'm here, sorry.
We're gonna come back in a session, we're gonna. I know Ariel, you put a lot of work into getting this stuff together, we're gonna postpone some of this stuff until July. But we can,
I can't postpone the user agreement that makes us in compliance or non-compliant with this CDI, but we have like 12 days to. So we could at least look at the user agreement and we could agree to sign that, leave those other stuff later.
which one of the user agreements are the fingerprint with, oh, user agreement? You guys have that on your packet, user agreement, it's, was this something that we had before and then we're just kind of um,
Yeah, I updated everything based on the current CRS statutes.
So what are we looking at?
it's a C, this one,
User agreement for CBI, CGIS systems? I mean, how many pages is it?
it's,
And I'll say that you already have a user agreement in place, so that's how we're doing our background checks. This is just an updated one.
and the only spot you updated, was it the red or no?
This I didn't update at all, this is provided by CDI. The rest are ones that I created to be in compliance with what they asked for.
So let, I think we can have this signed today, I don't think it's a,
So this, I went through and read through this stuff, and it's like, a lot of this is coming from the state boilerplate. What they're, what they require from us. And so like this user agreement for CBI, CJIS Systems Access for Non-Criminal Justice Agency. It sets forth how it is the CBI interacts with the town. And is this something that we have to have in the CBI? Okay, so this is how they deal with us and we deal with them. So to get it off the table, if you want to deal with any of this stuff today at all.
yeah, let's deal with the user agreement.
So I would make a motion to approve the user agreement for CBI, CJIS Systems Access for Non-Criminal Justice Agencies.
Is there a second?
I read it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
I mean, if you want to have time to read these things, only have it the next meeting, and we can do
It's like
that.
there is-
we can't, there's nothing.
The rest of it, you can,
Okay.
like all the
So we'll put
policies
the-
and everything, the user agreement with them is.
Re-upping.
Today.
We're just
Re-upping a previous thing.
Yeah.
This passed, we'll put the rest of it on July's meeting, if we could get this stuff, or at least take it now, take it today when you leave, so you can read it.
So
It'll be-
item F, I make a motion to appoint interim town clerk Blackwell as the local agency security officer.
It's G, but okay.
No, it's.
Oh, yeah.
If you move,
We moved it.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah.
It's item F.
Previous.
It's item G right now.
Oh, it's item G
Oh,
right
it's
now.
okay.
Okay.
Is there a second on that? Second,
Sure, I'll second.
Kim, Any more discussion?
No,
All in favor?
I
Aye.
aye,
I would
Okay.
make a motion to appoint interim town clerk Backwell as the TAC terminal agency coordinator.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Dana? Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Okay, very good. We already did, HI, now we're on to J. So this has to do with, applications that came in regarding Public Works Assistant. We have met once as a Public Works Committee. We have to have another meeting as soon as possible. But I interviewed, two of the candidates. One of them was, I called and I left a message and there was no response. So I interviewed two candidates. One of them has a job already and is willing to help as a second person if need be. The first person is available and, qualified and will do the job at, starting at $16 an hour, for, I believe it was 25 hours a week. Could be 20. But it's an assistant and we're gonna,
16 for 16.
remember what we advertised, 16, was it 16?
$16 an hour.
It was
16.
16.
16. Okay, with room for more possible, hours if need be. I mean. So,
Who's determining what that person does?
so I would refer to the Public Works Committee. We're hoping to be able to get more information from, say, like Andrew could come, and consult with us, about priorities. We really need to, the real priorities right now, in my opinion, are getting things cleaned up, especially before 4th of July. So whatever that takes, whether it be, mowing the lawn out here, doing weed whacking, I would recommend that we do not spray the chemicals, even if, just because there's too many dogs and creatures that go through that park. But, if we have the garlic spray, doing something like that. But I would recommend that we focus on cleanup, basically, for the first month. Whether it be cleaning out culverts, pulling sticks out, and then while we're doing that, if he's gonna take one trip to the landfill, or not the landfill, but the mitigation pit, then we have him go around and clean up the mitigation stuff that's been sitting around, doing very basic stuff, and then going from there. And then the Public Works Committee will come to the board, and the board can make suggestions to the Public Works Committee, and that's how, so if you guys have suggestions, then it would just be like a group of, it's Dennis, I, Ariel, and hopefully Drew will join, and maybe one other person we could have on there. And that way we have a little bit of a group oversight rather than a single, person, and we can really start going through some.
So I would really like to see added to the list is doing weed whacking along the edges of the roads, especially in the downtown district. But we've got a lot of cheap grass now that's growing along the sides of the roads, and not only is it going to seed, it presents a fire hazard if somebody parks on it. And
So I think that's part of
I'd
our.
like to see weed whacking happening, and then when we get to Public Works, I'd like to know, is the water system working?
So Brent was, I don't know if he has a bid yet for that, but he was supposed to get a bid for having a contractor or a quote at least how much it will cost to repair everything. It's kind of it was never done well to begin with, so we're struggling with the system itself and how to go use what we have, but still.
So we have 7 days until July 4th.
Right.
So that's 16 hours a week. So maybe
Yeah.
20 to 30 hours. Yeah, I would make a motion that we Well, I don't know.
So his name is Eddie Hyde. He's has his own company doing trash service. I think he'd be a good person for the job.
I thought there was somebody who doesn't have a job.
Him,
Oh, so, okay.
he's willing to
And
do,
the other person that applied has
has
another
another
job.
job and is willing to help, but let's start off with
And what happened to Drew? Junior,
that was Drew. Drew has another job.
he does have another job.
Yeah.
Okay, then I make a motion, we hire Eddie High for up to 20 hours a week. At 16, with concentration on. Well, I guess that'll be up to y'all.
Cleanup.
I
Yeah.
mean, their yard,
Okay.
park work.
Is that HEI?
Is there a second for that?
Eddie?
I'll second that.
Dennis? Discussion, yes, Drew.
Okay, we really don't have to spray the park, cause I ordered a bunch of this larvicide. And it's like, looks like fertilizer, granular fertilizer, and you spread it around. Once you water it, it will kill all the larvae of the mosquitoes in that. So, you know, you're not using a spray that will harm dogs or anything.
What if it's on the soil?
Well, but my motion, I mean,
Okay,
y'all
yeah.
can have those details.
Well, we're gonna have a public
Amongst
works,
the public works department.
yeah,
I would second.
no, we got to, Dennis,
We got it.
any more discussion?
For.
Starting immediate.
Sorry,
To hire Eddie Hyde.
Eddie Hyde. $16 an hour for 20 hours.
Up to 20.
Mayor,
Sorry. Yes, Dennis,
in this, as Adam has said, we only have a few days before 4th of July in this first week. I don't know if 20 hours is actually gonna be enough. We could hire him for that, but maybe with the special, somehow rephrase with the special event as
Second motion
needed.
I'll make a second motion after this.
so we'll just start them off at 20 hours, but for just like a ongoing basis, and then we'll until we catch up, and then for this first one, we'll do a separate motion.
However, he can rephrase it, yeah.
So all in favor? Oh,
Aye.
okay.
Discussion. Can I discuss?
We're gonna do a second motion. Is that okay? What's the,
Well, you're gonna pay the person $16 an hour, and that's what we budgeted for the assistant.
they're gonna stay assistant, they're gonna stay an assistant for the time being.
Right, so the assistant makes the same amount as the person in charge.
We just hired an assistant for $16 an hour.
Oh,
That's what we advertised for, that's what we are,
okay, but who are they gonna?
the public works
Public
committee,
Works Committee.
which will go to the board. So it's
We got 7 days.
well, right now, I'm gonna direct them after we.
I made,
Before you make the other motion, just go back up just 1 second.
Okay.
If we hire a person for, say, up to 25 hours a week, that doesn't mean that they're working 25 hours a week. We can say up to 25 hours and we scheduling this person for 20 hours this week, or 18 hours this week, or 25 hours. It gives us the flexibility. So I wouldn't wanna have to come back and say 20 hours a week and then make an exception and have to vote every time we need to have them do extra.
So we have up to 20 right now,
Right.
which is, I think, plenty for a continuous basis. But if we make one more motion that says for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we go up to 30 hours a week till then we have 3 weeks of, say, 30 hours and the rest is 20.
And what I'm suggesting is if we just happen to be at a higher number and then we regularly schedule 20, then we don't have to come back and vote for more hours. It's like if we're in the winter time and all of a sudden we have a big blizzard and we need to have a person do more hours. Saying we could already have them have the wiggle room to have more hours, but then only schedule them for 20 hours.
But it was supposed to be 16, so we upped it to 20.
Okay,
Is that,
never mind. Go ahead.
I make a motion for the first 3 weeks that we approve an additional up to 30 hours for a public works assistant. And that would account for preparation for 4th of July, catch up, and probably clean up after 4th of July.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Dennis? Is there more discussion?
No,
We'll talk more about public works later. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay, did we decide who?
Eddie,
Eddie, hi.
Aye, okay, aye.
Okay. 4th of July liaison, I think Nick requested that to have somebody from the town be, somebody who's gonna be at the 4th of July that can kind of speak for the town. That is like a liaison, basically, somebody who he feels like he can go to. He was having problems before where he couldn't find somebody and he had questions about things and.
And it's somebody who has the keys and things, cause what happened at that time is there was a breaker popped or whatever, and. We had to track down somebody who had access to the building to be able to reset the breaker, and so. It's, you know, it's also somebody who can remedy a problem.
So who would be a good person to?
I mean, now that Eddie's been hired, is he gonna have?
He'll have some, I think we're gonna start off really slow on access.
Okay.
But I think he should definitely have a key for the downstairs where the mower is. And have a key for the public works building, so we could put Eddie.
And it might be helpful to have two people, cause it starts at like 8 in the morning, it goes till like whatever at night, so it might be helpful to have 2 different people. Unless he's up for doing it for the whole time period.
not on the clock.
Yeah.
I'll be out of town.
I'd be willing to do it for a little, I don't know, how long I can do it, but I would be willing to do it for some of the time. I don't have keys for the downstairs. I mean, I'll be around.
But I think it's just.
You wanna do it, Tim?
Warren?
Wanna do it?
So it's somebody who has to be able to, it's where the public works is helpful, because usually it's some kind of a mechanical problem.
So why don't I call Eddie and talk to him and say, well, you know, you'll be on call with me, but we're not gonna pay you, we'll just pay you for the time you work.
And then I think having you as the mayor available, even if it's only by phone or text, in case there's some other sort of policy issue that comes in or.
Okay. So let's, yes,
Maybe something you could think about, but why not hire me for that week? Or this upcoming week?
to start,
And, cause I know what to do with these lawns and the ditches and the
so
electrical.
one of the things we're coming up against, I think, and I'm not 100% on this. Because we don't have our books yet, that we already spent $5,000 early on, is that correct? Did we already contract, no, this year, how much have we paid you so far this year?
Nothing.
Nothing, oh. Oh, okay, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought there was a point with somebody that we had,
You talked about hiring him, but he.
was it last year then?
I don't know about last year, but this year there was nothing.
Well,
So
I
what-
think that there's some sense in having Drew be able to show Eddie what is going on. Because, you know, somebody needs to show him what's
Right.
going on.
So one thing is, one thing I'd like to do is use the Public Works Committee and Drew, because what we're trying to do is spread out information so that now it's not like one person holds all the information and then when, now we're coming back to you asking, well, how do we do this? How do we do that? So I don't know if there's a way to work with Eddie to implement like a system that we're sharing information.
Yeah.
So he's now sharing with us and then we're sharing with, him.
So I think. We really should take advantage of Drew's knowledge
Yeah.
and hire him to do training and show him the operations of everything. and be able to assist with the prep for the 4th of July.
Okay,
I really feel like
would you be willing to do that? You'd be willing to do that?
Yeah.
At what rate and how?
I'd say 20 an hour.
Okay. For how many hours would you say?
Well, we've got a week here for the 4th, and you got ditches to clean, you got park, mowing, weed eating, brush pickup,
to come up.
that's a lot. But if I have 2 assistants there, it will go quick.
30?
And also I can train them on the equipment. 'Cause you
Get 'em
don't
going.
want to turn
There were the 2 assistants.
equipment.
So we had Eddie Hike for 30 hours, why don't we put Andrew on 30 hours? For that time
For a
period.
catch-up period?
Yeah,
And then can you also work with the Public Works Committee as well? And we can start getting some priorities and start writing stuff down, so we really have the knowledge to carry it. All right, I would entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Kizen, 30 hours of work. Well, just 30 hours,
30
and then he can kind of decide how he wants to use it.
As an employer or contractor? Employee or contractor?
It would probably be a subcontract. We would have to have a contract.
Right.
Excuse me,
Yes, Dennis,
we've denied this with other people because they didn't have insurance.
so then do we have to make him an employee?
Just have to be an employee for that time period. And I think Andrew's in a position where we could have him be an on-call employee. As various things come up, let's just have him be as like a on-call.
Can you do that?
employee. And as Eddie Hyde's going through things or different events are happening or whatever, to be able to know that, hey, we can pull on Andrew for 4 hours this day because they're trying to do such and such. I think having Andrew as an on-call employee, at the rate of 20 an hour as, you know, we can decide as when, but
Yes, Dennis?
Let's just make it part-time on call.
Okay, I like that.
It needs to not exceed a certain number of hours.
Well, I think we said 30 and then we can come back for more. And-
Can we
and
make
Joel.
it the same as Eddie?
That's what we did. No?
What do you mean the same as Eddie?
The dollar amount, the hourly rate.
No, I would say we're gonna do less hours and more, a little more pay.
Well, let's
Because-
pay more hours.
Less hours.
Let's-
Huh?
I was gonna say less hours and more, less pay and more hours.
$20 is a pretty fair deal for Andrew's experience, and then he's gonna be working with us for the Public Works Committee to get us on a handle on it as well,
On the clock? Off the clock?
probably on the clock.
Hmm.
I mean, but
I mean, we've already formed citizens actions committees across the board and everybody's volunteering their time. So we can't have a committee member on the clock.
would you be willing to do some committee time
Yeah.
off the clock
Can't do it.
as an employee?
You can't volunteer as an employee,
Well,
that's labor law.
are you volunteering? Or you gonna,
employees.
Talk about that.
Employees can volunteer to work they can decide to volunteer off the clock. You can't force them to, you can't make it be a condition of their job. But if an employee wants to donate any time, they can. You can't require it though.
Pretty foggy.
But having Drew come in for 30 hours at $20 an hour to help Eddie as an employee
is the motion? on the
is
table.
the motion on the table and is pretty clear.
Awesome, love it.
All right, any more discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Who is it?
Rick, you
Motion
did.
and second.
I
I,
did not.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Tizer made the motion. Dennis, did you second that one? Yeah. Or did we just go
Yes.
straight? Okay,
And then Kim recused.
Kim recused. All right. Why don't we, continue on, and we're gonna go to Public Works, number 11, so we can really talk a little bit more about that. How we're gonna deal with it.
Did we? This all, this kind of, did we make a decision on 4th of July liaison? Is that, because that's kind of what brought this up.
So what we're gonna do is I will work with Drew and Eddie as Public Works liaison, or, sorry, July 4th liaison, but, okay? And then we can all work together if they need. Okay, sounds good. There's new keys and stuff, just seeing, we have, yeah. I don't know about downstairs, but definitely the Public Works has a new key and stuff, so.
So you want to go to Public Works, let's continue this conversation.
No, yeah, let's just, keep going here.
Okay.
Reevaluate timing, no, discussion of employee compensation. So this came up because of, are we gonna get this letter report from Sarah, or is?
A letter. No, I don't have it on there.
Okay.
I mean, it's time for the.
Can we move that to July? I know. I think it's important, but
Sure.
I think it's an important item.
It's also tied into employee evaluation.
It's also tied into our budget and our supplemental budget. And it's tied into employee evaluation. Okay, reevaluate timing for switching QuickBooks Online and Dana contract.
So at some point in time in the last month, I made a motion to approve or try entering into a contract with Dana Reitner. In order for her to assist our treasurer in switching to QuickBooks Online versus desktop. And I made that motion because I'm under the impression that switching to online is inevitable and that it will cost money. I think I made the mistake of missing things in that contract, which included transportation time, travel expenses, maybe even lodging. It was mentioned to me, so I'm not very comfortable with that, but even more importantly is a sense of urgency on the audit. And our audit, based on conversations with our finance committee, the audit needs to pretty much take top priority on financial work right now and prepping for that audit. Additionally, we can't switch, so the audit prep means cleaning up, solidifying and clarifying our 2023 numbers. Because we can't present information to an auditor without that work being done, and that work is not done. Secondarily, we can't switch to online if that work is not done, because we're just pretty much. I don't know that, I would say you can't do anything until we clean up 2023. We can't open up a whole new, we can't transfer to online with a bunch of information that's incomplete and inaccurate or unclear. So the finance committee was recommending that we postpone that contract. And I've already presented information from the finance committee to the treasurer, which includes completion of 2023 numbers, and asked her to focus on that. Also asked her to get back to us, to let us know how long she thinks that will take, because that is really what's up right now.
Do you have to supplement the budget for 23?
I think we have to supplement for 21, 2, and 3
I don't know if we are gonna be able to do 21 and 2. But
right now.
supplemental budget for 23.
I would
Before the audit.
venture to say that I guess I don't know the answer, but it seems like logical that we would supplement.
So I found an auditor, we've advertised and we found one.
Okay.
We couldn't extend, we were denied an extension because last year they didn't extend and they were late, so now.
Last year we did extend.
Well, they said we didn't extend, it never got filed.
That means our auditor did not extend,
Correct.
although he kept asking us for extensions.
So our auditor this year said he would not extend, we have to extend, so we attempted to extend. And he came back denying us an extension. And what the consequences are is when we're late now, they will withhold not sales tax, but property tax. Which I don't know where we're at with property tax coming in, but we are at risk of not getting some property tax, which is. They'll just ask to withhold it from our. From payment, so basically, that's the consequences.
Okay, so I mean, I think that looks like. Me making a motion to postpone the contract with Dana for transition to QuickBooks Online is one motion. And then, as a board, I think we need to direct our treasurer to complete the 2023 numbers and make that top priority.
Well, we need to also, and it's not on here, which I should have. I thought I sent that out that we were gonna have it on the agenda to hire the auditor.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. He's coming up, he's gonna give us a letter, what is it called? A letter of, commitment. And that should be at the end of the month, so we'll have it for July.
Okay. And then.
He said the cost of that is 11,000 to 15,000 depending.
Okay, and we budgeted 12.5, but we also have. Maybe this is the person that we seek further exploration with what we allocated for forensic audit.
Correct.
But so I would make the motion that we postpone the contract with Dana Ryder for transition to QuickBooks Online for the reasons that I stated.
And I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then make a motion that we, maybe it's not a motion, but we as a board need to really, going back to what Warren says and what we're finding in the finance committee. We really need to. I understand the need to, maintain respect and healthy working environment for our treasurer, and we really need some stuff that we're not getting right now. And the more time that she now focuses on audit prep, the less time we are having our billing system working smoothly and getting our financial reports every month.
So one thing to keep in mind, and this is not an excuse, but, in the past, when we had pretty messed up books, we had an administrator, we had a treasurer, and we had a bookkeeper
Right.
doing the work of what Kim's trying to do.
Right.
For less hours.
Mhm.
So I'm not making that as an excuse of
Let's see, before Leslie, it was Gwen,
Gwen Elson, and then they had a bookkeeper too.
Sometimes they had Maryland. in there.
Maryland.
So,
How do we, Adam, you're bringing up that. The maintaining respectful, healthy working relationships, and that we're not getting what we need right now, so does that mean that Kim needs to work more with the finance committee? Or we need somebody to be more active in directing? What we need for this audit?
I think the audit prep.
It's a priority.
I think the audit prep looks like completing the 2023 information that we have in a packet that the finance committee provided to the treasurer. Which today may be the first day that she saw that because she wasn't working over the weekend. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think that we need to direct our treasurer to complete the 2023 process. So that we can submit that information to the auditor. And I think that through Benji and the finance committee, we've communicated that maybe there's another person who might volunteer some time to help us So I have a call out to that person, but no answers right now. That's Carolyn. And I think employee evaluations are something we've been talking about for a year and a half or whatever.
So self-evaluation is one part of that, and there should be a form.
And I understand that we're asking our treasurer to do more work than she can do in the hours that she has allocated.
Excuse me. Adam, the, Mayor, at the last Finance Committee meeting, which would be a week ago, this coming Wednesday, Adam had put together an email and it looks like it never made it to the agenda. And I don't know if it's,
Trustees.
it had a lot of good detail in there that he's talking about now.
And I'm also just received a response from the treasurer to the email that I sent like 5 seconds ago.
I think that my point is, I think the board should have a copy of that as well.
Let me
I
see.
agree.
You wanna read it?
7 pages.
7
The
page email?
report. That, yeah, that's the report. And I guess I would ask Ariel to forward that to the board so that it's not infraction of sunshine law. I only sent it to 2 trustees.
So what can we do at this meeting? That would.
We can reach an agreement as a board that we need to focus on audit prep, which means completion of 2023 process. And that we can commit to our employee evaluations, so we can see if it's even
So there's been-
reasonable for us to expect.
So there's been a recommendation to bring in CPA
Carol,
or somebody,
recommendation by,
well, citizens, are recommending, like, and I don't know if that's part of your report. But we need to figure out how to either get her help to do this. We need.
I think the unfortunate part of that conversation is that we've hired Virginia. It's being proposed that we hire Dana. We've got 100+ hours from Elaine. Now we're looking at another volunteer, and these are things that the finance committee is communicating that our treasurer should be able to do without having to pay all of these other people to come in and show them how to do the job.
So.
And that's a delicate conversation.
She admitted she was not trained. Okay, I agree with you that the audit is priority.
Let's go
But
there.
then are we gonna throw her under the bus because all this other stuff is not done? Because I'll tell you, I'm sick and tired of our staff turnover. I'm sick and tired of them being thrown under the bus and being the scapegoat for any problems that we have. This
I
is
think that
not continue this behavior. Now, I agree with you, we need to get this audit done, but if she doesn't put out financials for the next board meeting, I don't care. Get the audit done. And, we're hiring all these different entities to come in and help her, but she admitted she's not trained. She admitted
yes.
she's just a bookkeeper.
We thought we were.
I thought we were ready for
But-
23.
Last meeting, her report was incomplete. Now for the last thing, she's working for the things that are back for the last 2 years, but the things that happened last month, she didn't know what was expenses related to what we was paying. So it's a lot of things, not only for the past, but what she's doing right now. She's not doing that part of that job. She put expenses, we not put it in the right column. So we're not just talking because we're not supporting her. It's just her job is speaking up.
So yeah, let's focus on the audit with the understanding that we're not gonna have all of the other stuff that we need. And then we need to address the fact that we're not getting what we need. And if that's our fault, for putting too much on a person, or not having enough money to pay another person, whatever that is, but. We don't know how much sales tax we've gotten for the last 2 months.
So we're directing our treasurer to take audit as number one, to get the audit.
The completion of the 2023, and I have questions here from her that I'll have to address.
Okay.
Can do that right now.
And she'll work with the finance committee to understand what's necessary, or how is she, or work with the auditor. We're gonna have to hire the auditor.
I would probably try to arrange that both the finance committee and the treasurer have access to the auditor and stay in communication about what's needed and required.
So do you want to hire, we could wait till July to hire the auditor when we have the contract, or I've been communicating with him and he's just.
Yeah, I gotta see the contract and
Okay.
know who it is.
So then we'll put that on for July. Is really important, and then have us direct. What's there? Us direct our treasurer to focus on 23 and, we kind of gotta work it a little more as a team, I think, I know that everybody's really busy. A lot of the committee stuff is volunteer work, it's extra work, it's a lot, and I know that Elaine has been putting in more work than everybody, and I'm sure Warren's been putting in a lot. Everybody is volunteering their time, so we have to make this somewhat efficient, but we do need to work as a team to get this stuff worked out. Correct? Is there a way that we can do that?
I was just reading
Okay.
her response.
I think I'm sorry, Kizzy.
So. To me, I'm not on the finance committee. So I would really love to see the finance committee, as part of their work is looking at. Does our treasurer need to have more hours in order to do the work? And that to me is a really good question, that we're looking at what's being asked of her and the priorities of her. Does she need to have more hours? Or can we designate the volunteers to do part of the work? This seems to be like, we're not getting an answer. I don't know, as a board member, if I should say, well, we need to give her 5 more hours a month. I don't know what she needs, and so I would hope that the finance committee can really take a look and say, all right, here's the workload, here's what needs to be done, here's gonna do it, and this is how much it's gonna take. And I feel like I'm not getting that information, and I would hope that the finance committee could maybe find out, do we have enough volunteers, or does Kim need to have any work?
She's here and could probably address that, but as a member of the finance committee and a trustee, I would say, I don't think 5 hours extra per week is going to. Give our treasurer what she needs to accomplish those tasks. It's more like another position.
Okay.
And that we can't afford right now, and I think there has been concern expressed about. Maybe more specifically, can we have volunteers do some of that work? I think that Elaine, possibly Carol Ann, I think that Warren has proposed solutions, and I think that Dennis and Adam, as finance committee members, have all volunteered time and are willing to volunteer time to create solutions that make things easier on our treasurer. And I think part of that is even giving step-by-step tasks that can get accomplished and crossed off the list. That Kim, whether it's through overwhelm or lack of proper training, has not been able to cross off some or many of those things.
Yes, Dennis?
Yeah, I would just ask the board, encourage the board, ask the board, beg the board to read what Adam had sent in that email. It lines out pretty well on how to take on what we have in front of us, or what the treasurer has in front of her. I'll admit sometimes I flip-flop back and forth on the idea of more hours or less hours. But we're in a situation like this as we were with the trying to establish how many hours our ORC was training was training Brent. It's very difficult to walk away from something and saying, well, my hours are up, I've got to walk away from this now because I may or may not get paid, or I've got to get board approval. So I guess what I'm saying is to lift those restrictions under a more of a discipline type of attack on what Adam had put together, I think would be okay with me. I don't know if that made sense.
I have the letter from Adam. Would you like me to print? I emailed it to all of you. Would you like me to print a copy for you to read?
I think it's the report that's more detailed versus the letter. I mean, the letter just addressed some scheduling and what we accomplished. But it's that detailed report of tasks that Adam did not put together, but came via the finance committee. And it's a lot of work, but it's also should be doable by a person within a reasonable.
Where is it that it's 7 pages?
It's a attachment.
You can get an attachment. I can. Maybe we should, want to come sit down with us?
Well, I don't wanna overdo it. I just wanted to address the fact that the summary, the schedule outlines most of the work that Virginia and I have been accomplishing over the last several months. So, like, I've worked through 2 pages of it, 3 hours.
Awesome.
So I just think there's really a misunderstanding of, you know, what has actually been accomplished. So they're just like, it's like, I don't know how to clarify, and maybe that because, you know, it's counting and it's bookkeeping. It's like, the numbers were not in QuickBooks. September, October, November, and then there's ongoing stuff happening all the time. And I got hired in January, thanks to Warren, who pointed out a treasurer was necessary. I got hired at 5 to 10 hours a week. 5 to 10 hours a week for about 6 weeks. That's what I did, then I stepped up to 20. That's what I've been doing, 20 to 25 hours a week for several months now. And the total is what? 5 months, something like that. I mean, January 17th to June is 5 months at part-time, working with a qualified accountant, auditor. Virginia, we have accomplished immense amounts. And I'm taking care of the water bill, water sewer billing, and on. There's a lot of things. I don't feel bad at all about what I've accomplished, and I don't think you should either. And I think a stray date being not quite right on a report, that's just nothing, and could have been corrected that day, that morning, could have had the corrected things.
So,
And I don't know.
I mean,
the answer to why
do you
that.
think that that we're pretty much ready to send that to the auditor? Would you say that?
The 2023 books are done.
Okay. So that's what I remember you saying too. The 2023 is ready to go to the auditor. So that's a good.
Ready now, today.
Okay, and that's different than whatever the last meeting we looked at 2023.
Did you?
Well, we're just where we had like uncategorized stuff.
Well, that was, yeah, but
There's gonna be some uncategorized stuff. I didn't have control or access to the credit card, so there's gonna be some. You know, what I figured it could just be in buckets, like,
Yeah, but you had to write a check, and before you write a check, you had to be sure for what you're writing, because that was the
this was
problem last
twenty
report.
twenty-three when she wasn't here, Armando. And
Yeah,
there are
sorry.
credit cards, and they're not available statements for those credit cards for some. Or if they are.
We was talking about,
They don't know, she can't differentiate because she didn't spend the money. So as we're going forward, needs to happen and is happening.
sure.
Awesome, that's great, if 2023 is ready, that makes it like super. A lot less for us to stress.
We can hire our auditor. I mean, when we get the letter of engagement. So I would like to say thank you for all that you're doing. I'm sorry that this has been such a complex, overwhelming thing, and I know that you're going through a lot to keep us in order. And I know it's hard for you, you know, we had Lisa here who was really good at explaining, but we were completely off on so many things with her. So she was really good at talking to us and explaining that she was on. However, we weren't. I think, Kim, you're not so good at explaining everything you're doing.
not yet.
But you will be. And yet you're still really doing your very, very best to keep us on track, and get us back on track.
I appreciate that, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and yes, I am willing.
To learn too.
I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to do the work, I'm willing to do what needs to be done.
So, would more hours help you? No. Okay.
I mean, I've been approved for up to 30. If it takes more than that, it's gonna have to take someone else. Like, I've been asking, or saying I'd be open to having an accountant. That's been, you know, somebody's name has been around.
Caroline, yeah.
Okay.
Caroline, yeah.
Yes, I would welcome such help. I mean, that would be very valuable.
Right.
And it doesn't take much. I don't think it's like, you know, hiring or getting, you know, let's have an official volunteer position. I mean, if a person is willing just to come in, you know, and give a couple of hours, does that require? I don't know.
So that was gonna be my question to you is, what sort of help do you need that would be effective help for you?
Yeah.
What do you need?
I just outlined in the email that I sent to the finance committee that a couple hours. Between now and the next board meeting would be great. 2 hours.
And I have no idea what Caroline's.
No, with an account.
With an
Or if
account.
she's even willing.
They help make sure I can get these.
She said she was available to me to help, but I don't know if it was with the finance committee or with the actual treasurer.
Right.
I mean,
So-
do we wanna,
Not with the finance committee.
yeah,
I need somebody sitting down in the seat next to me. Like Virginia did.
no, I know, I'm just saying what she offered. I don't know if she offered it to you or if she offered it to the finance committee, that's all I'm saying.
So how can we get her those couple hours with an accountant?
Well, it sounds like somebody should reach out to Carolyn. If who's been in communication with her.
She just gave me her phone number, I'm supposed to call her.
Okay, so maybe that's a good starting point, because if she is a CPA and is willing to give her time for free, then that would be great, and then if she's not, then we should reach out to somebody else, and if we end up having to pay them for a couple of hours,
Okay.
we might have to do that.
Okay. Let's get on that.
And then the auditor, we're gonna get their,
By the end of the month, he said he'll have a letter of engagement. I
okay,
think he's Ronnie Farmer, you can look him up, he is recommended by Wall Smith and Bateman. Because he seems different than our previous auditor, and that he's more exacting and kind of not as vague, I would say.
And so we'll sign the letter of engagement in July and then. Kim, we've got everything we need to give them to get that started.
And if we,
Sounds like-
if we're late, which we're probably gonna be late, on the audit, it doesn't matter, I mean, we're gonna lose some of our income from property taxes, so we just wanna figure out, you know,
That's not,
it's not huge, and I think we've already received some, is that?
yeah, I think it's, yes, it's been. Yeah, I'd have to.
And then one thing is, when we do get sales tax, and you know how much it is, we would like to know every month, at least so that we have an idea of where we're at with that. That's important,
Okay,
that's our main
Yeah.
revenue
I'll-
source.
yeah, I'll get that.
We'll get it for July.
July,
Oh.
yeah, no,
No, I'm saying we could have it in July, it would be nice to have it.
you can have it in 5 minutes.
Okay. Cool. One other, okay, so we're good with that, everybody feels,
We'll be reaching out to Carolyn, is that me or Adam?
So when they withhold the property tax, they're just gonna keep it.
they hold it until we have our audit done and make it back.
About $4,000.
But they don't keep it.
They don't keep it, they withhold it until you get it done.
Right, that was my question.
Right, but you haven't gotten water billing or hydrant billing or business licenses, which all amount to probably in the neighborhood of 25,000.
We have hydrant,
And
hydrants going out,
Sir,
right?
I remember that thing, June 15th.
I haven't received it,
It's a water bill,
I haven't received my water bill.
it did go out though, if you haven't received it, it did go out.
Today's the 24th, they were mailed the 15th.
I saw mine on the bill, let's see.
I can't control the postal.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's what it appears to me.
Okay, one other thing that came up, and I'm gonna go back to L because it wasn't really written correctly, discussion of employees' compensation. What's coming up is Sarah is leaving us.
No.
Yeah. And so, and part of it was the pay, I mean, at $16 an hour for the amount of work that she was doing, it was a little on the low side. Ariel is, you know, there was a lot that Ariel got help with, and we're gonna be losing that. She can give us a report as to exactly why, I hope she gives us a report.
She's typing it now.
She's typing it. Now
So, do we know why she's leaving?
well, not exactly yet.
She told me in our meeting, it was the pay, it was the politics of the office, and it was the culture. Here, she was unhappy with. Very opposed was the pay. She said she'd be willing to stay for $20 an hour, 25 hours a week. I just bring it up because if I go to clerk school and I don't have an office assistant, then we are in a bind to how the office runs.
So,
Is she still willing to stay for?
She's willing to stay for $20 an hour, 25 hours a week. She said that would keep her.
So, yeah, we don't know how much money we have, so.
Yeah.
so, the wage scale is so different than it was, say, 4 years ago. And $20 an hour is like what 14 used to be just a few years ago. I mean, people are charging $35 an hour to clean, homes at Airbnbs.
50.
I think that $20 an hour is almost like a minimum wage anymore. I hired a guy to do weed whacking at my house, an 18-year-old, he charges $20 an hour. I think that for us to try to expect to have qualified, dedicated, employees, we really need to look at at raising what we pay. And otherwise, we're not gonna be able to keep people, we're just not. And $16 an hour is just so below market value. And it's really hard when we don't know what our sales tax revenue is and where we are in our budget, so it's a really difficult decision, but I think. Training people is an investment in people, and we need to be able to pay people a reasonable rate, and I don't think $20 an hour is too high, it's just, can we afford it? And can we not afford it? I mean,
Trustee Pazinski?
I think losing Sarah is a big deal. You know, I think she is really efficient and works really well in the office. From what I've seen, I'm not there that much. But after saying that, this is the importance, we're seeing the importance of seeing where our budget is monthly. We don't know, I think Adam started to say, we don't know how much money we have, and that's true. We don't know what we have left for this year. And to refresh everyone's memory, when Finance Committee came forward back in December and presented this budget that you have, we had warned everyone that this year was not going to be the norm of what we were used to, and hopefully not what was going to be in the future. So it's of the utmost importance for all of us, including our employees, to watch what we're doing. We spend more money talking about events, and I know I'm repeating myself, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, and we worry more about that. But simultaneously, our income is going down, the right-of-way is deteriorating. You know, we just got to, all of us, not just Finance Committee, but all of us have really got to keep our finger on it. And I would encourage staff members as well to know the budget. And when you present something to us in a cost, and it's going to cost something more, to look in the budget and see where to legitimize it, see where that's going to fit if we do okay that expenditure or not. We're going to have to do a supplemental resolution here on a supplemental budget here pretty quick. Because I know a lot of these line items, we've got to be way over on what we originally allocated.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a huge trade-off when we deal with this stuff, and it's just, you know, if we hire somebody, say at $16 an hour, because we do need an office aide, then Ariel is gonna have to go back and retrain. It's gonna cost us more money there.
Right.
She might not get what she needs from it, so it's gonna be her having to make up for the lack of that, and that happens a lot. You know, we're hiring somebody, I mean, like with Sarah, I'm not, you know, she's kind of dedicated to the town, because if she went anywhere else, and if Ariel went anywhere else, they'd be getting $35 an hour easily from other places, at that kind of dedication and commitment that they make to the town. So it's, you know, I know we have to supplement our budget, I know we have to find out where we're at. We also cannot, I mean, we're gonna come back and talk about things not getting done. I mean, it's gonna be that much worse when we come back to this. We're gonna come back.
And then
I
if we
mean-
lose Ariel because
Yeah.
6 months down the line, she's fed up with not having any help and like that, you know, we're just gonna put ourselves more into a financial bind
We've
with that
got 14
situation.
people in 2 years.
I make a motion that we pay Sarah $20 an hour for
To retain.
25 hours a week.
Is there a second?
How many hours, Adam?
25 hours a week, $20 an hour.
for Sarah,
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
More discussion?
Paul?
Yeah, I think in January, the first time we overspent a line item, I suggested that we start making a list of the things that we're gonna have to supplement, and I don't think we have that list.
Yeah.
But this needs to go on.
Also, I think maybe we can pass this motion, but there was also a comment about office, about culture and whatnot. and
Yes,
so
yes.
putting-
So,
Giving her the pay that she wants is hopefully going to keep her here in the short term, but if there is a long-term problem of something going on, then it also needs to be addressed. But maybe
I
we can
agree.
ask.
Yes, absolutely. We have more information about that? We are here?
We're gonna get a letter from her anyways, but, we
Okay.
can pass this motion.
Yes, absolutely.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
No.
Aye.
I,
So we're hitting almost 12:30.
And I have just one more thing, I think if we're looking at doing a supplemental budget, what is Ariel getting paid an hour? 22. So as being the clerk and the responsibility, I think that we really need to look here and also giving her an increase in wages. She's been with us, you know, a good while now. She's been learning a lot. She's doing a lot, putting a lot on her shoulders. And if her assistant's getting $20 an hour, I think she should get more than 22. And I think we look at the supplemental budget, I would propose that she get paid at least $25 an hour.
Did you make a motion?
And so when we started off this year, we put a certain chunk of money, like 100,000 that we set aside because we weren't sure how badly the sales tax was gonna hit us. And so I think when we get the financial information and see where we are, to me, number one priority for us is this town has to function. It has to function, and if we don't have the staff, we don't have that, then we're not getting the work done, we don't have the administrative work done, we don't have the public works done. You know, we're not fulfilling our job to keeping the town functional, and in order to do that, we need to have staff, and we have seen, like you said, Benjamin, if we don't have the staff, that work doesn't get work done. We get, that hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper at what needs to be done, and the dysfunction gets worse and worse and worse. So I really would like to encourage us when we're looking at the supplemental budget about giving Ariel a raise.
Did you make a motion for that?
I will make that
Let's,
motion.
I think Kimberly has some information.
Oh, I have. I didn't.
The sales tax?
Sales information. Exactly. Yes.
So now we do.
But I also wanted to say that I am also getting $22 an hour. I feel it is.
Anyway.
So I would like to make a motion that starting with, July 1st, that Ariel is paid at the rate of $25 an hour.
For how many hours a week?
Or whatever the hours she has right now. I'm just looking at a wage increase.
Kim.
I think we need a supplemental budget.
Is there a second or 1 sec?
Should we go for 24?
I want to say, I'd like to raise that.
Dennis, we need a second before we move on.
I'd second it.
Dana, okay, now we can discuss. Dennis?
Adam, refresh my memory of what we had agreed upon with Ariel and Kim when we did that increase at a meeting. Wasn't it, didn't we say something to the effect that when we took them from that starting pay raise to what they're making now was a jump that they should not expect after their probation period was up, but we put some condition on it after that, and I don't recall what that was. And I want to say it was when Ariel would be certified as a clerk, but I might be wrong.
We saw that, so we are definitely expediting it, and we should understand that we were talking about giving her a raise after her training, but, so this is just an expedited raise starting July 1st.
I don't remember, Dennis.
Good enough.
We really need the supplemental budget. We need to
Yes.
know where we're at, and so that. I want to give everybody a raise, because everybody's working really hard and deserves it, and like Kizin saying. Life is super expensive for people to not. To be putting so much effort in and, you know, not getting what they're worth and then wanting to leave. Because of it. And so that, it's just like. Well, how,
It's a catch-22.
Yeah. yeah, it is.
You know, we could probably just compromise. Normally after a probationary period, it's like $1 an hour raise. You know, but Ariel's making 22, Kim's making 22. They're worth a lot more. But I think if we, you know, try to keep within our budget, if as close as we can. And at this juncture, just keep it simple and maybe just bump them up to 23 each. Per hour. I mean, it's not a lot, it's not a real pat on the back, but it's something realistic that we can deal with. And that they'd be happy to have. I used to get a quarter
Right now,
raise.
we have a motion. So when you say 23 each, you're talking about Kim.
Kim and Ariel,
We have a motion
Because
right
they're
now
both
for
making
25 on the
22.
table for Ariel.
they're both making 22 an hour.
We have a motion on the table for Ariel right now. We can talk about Kim afterwards, but for Ariel, what do you think, 23?
Well, the motion was for 25, wasn't it?
Correct.
For just Ariel. What do you think, Adam? I wanna know what you think.
I think that we've been asking for employee evaluations for a long time, and I think that's the process by which people get raises.
Correct.
So what are you
However-
suggesting?
Merely that's the process by which people get raises.
So you're saying we shouldn't make this motion?
I think that, I mean, I think that we're basically volunteers here. And we have residents and citizens and a budget that doesn't provide enough money to treat these people as well as they deserve to be treated. So that we're kind of a little bit stuck there, and then I think that, when we have residents and citizens complaining about our efforts as a town and pointing out our flaws, that translates over to how much we pay our staff. So when if you guys make mistakes, which is completely 100% understandable, we make mistakes and our residents and citizens also make mistakes. But, you know, are we supposed to give, I think that we just bumped on somebody from 16 to 20, that's a huge bump, $4 an hour. And if that's supposed to translate over to the other side. So when we have things that aren't meeting our needs, such as meetings not being properly noticed, so we have to cancel meetings, so that translates over bad to our residents, or financial reports not being up to our standards and expectations, that translates over to our citizens and residents. And if we're supposed to then turn around and give raises, I think we have to be able to sit in a room with our staff where they feel safe, and if that's in public or in executive session, and have those hard conversations about what we think we need in order to satisfy our citizens, residents, laws, and budgets, then that could translate to a raise.
So
I'll
we're gonna
support what Adam just said.
So I would withdraw my motion for now, for this moment. But I really want us to have a good handle on where we are with our finances and our sales tax, and I would like us to be able to bring back to discussion a raise for both Ariel and for Kim.
Absolutely, and I would further say that, yes, you guys deserve to be getting paid more, and that if we can't supply good wages for our staff, we're not gonna get what we.
And we're gonna get more turnover.
We're gonna get more turnover, And so as a board, that means I think we need to be making it a priority to have those employee evaluations. And to, at this point in time, supplement our budget, and in order for us to supplement our budget, we have to know what kind of revenue we have. So that we can commit to paying people better, because they deserve it. And again, when we approved the 2024 budget, we knowingly took that down below what we need to operate, because that's what we have and that's what we have to work with. So I think we did that knowing that we will have to supplement. budget.
So I would like it to go on the agenda as right after our report from treasurer, like, new business next month, so we can.
What am I putting on, I think?
It's the same thing, discussion of employee compensation.
So I would
Evaluation.
motion.
Oh, yeah, and then how are we gonna do these evaluations? Can we,
We had it
Correct.
on the agenda
I remember,
to be presented with the forms that area found.
It starts with the staff self-evaluating.
Okay.
And presenting that to you.
But I
would have
thought we were
to
just
do
gonna,
employee evaluations, I would like it to be in an executive session, I don't want it to be a
Okay.
public meeting.
can we do it?
I also thought what we put on the agenda, I thought 2 weeks or 4 weeks ago was just for you to present to us the process. So that we could see if we could improve on that process and make sure it's meeting y'all's needs also.
Sure.
So we're not gonna next week have an employee evaluation, we're gonna look at the process and commit to it. And then let them move forward.
In most cases, the form is the employee evaluates themselves. From rating from 1 to 5, and then their supervisor. Does
Right.
it over again
And then
and
we
could
do it
change and then it comes to the board.
Mhm.
And we could decide.
Except there is no supervisor, so
There is no
we are the supervisor, they're asking to do it in executive session, so.
And
That
I
should be on the
agree.
agenda, then.
That should be executive.
The
Okay,
problem is we wanna see the basics.
I wanna see the process,
Yeah, so
and
next,
I want y'all to feel good about the process.
so
before we
next
just-
meeting, we'll have the process presented, we'll make sure everybody's good with it, and then we
And
can
then
start scheduling.
2 weeks later, we could have, yeah.
Yeah. Does that sound good with staff?
It's up to me, it's up to you.
Obviously not as good as a $25 an hour pay increase, but.
I would just point out that like other staff members got. Raises without an employee evaluation, Brent went from 16 to 22, without, so that hasn't been the process that I've been.
Good point.
What did you go from, 16 to 22?
16 to 20 and then 22.
Great, and you went from 20 to 22? Okay, so everybody's gotten a raise without that process. And at this point in time, it's the same as whether or not we're gonna issue this person a well permit.
So we buffer.
We have,
But that's part of the culture problem too, is that there's not always the walk that's taught as well.
So Sarah went from 16 to 20.
If she wants to take it, it's kind of an option, it's could be.
Okay.
And if not, we need to post it.
And, yeah, I'm interested to see Sarah's letter, and I also really. I want these evaluations to go through, because like Ariel is pointing out, like. Walking the talk. For everybody, and like from now on, like really walking the talk with everybody, like we have just been giving out. Raises without the evaluations, and like some, if that feels fair or unfair, or. So like.
Also the cell phone.
The cell phone thing
Is
with-
another. When I still have people contacting me on my.
So the thing that I would say is that the board is not always clear. We. So we have 7 people that we're dealing with, and we're trying to get clarity. And that's why we rely on you guys for information. I mean, you guys are the hands, and we're sort of. Trying to be the mind. And I'm not saying that there's not mind in your job, and I'm not saying there's not hands in our job. It's just that when, it's kind of this shift. If we get really good information from you, it's a lot easier for us to make better decisions. That's number one. So like, we just have to keep working together to make this culture better, because it's kind of it goes both ways. I mean, we can't be clear we can't be clear if we're, you know, like,
I think we are clear as a board that we recognize the value of our staff and that we need to do a better job
correct.
to supplement our budget and pay them better.
Okay.
And in order to do that.
I would
we
agree
have
with
to
that
have Employee evaluations, which should be a standard across the board practice, which provides integrity and safety for our staff. And we need to know how much money we have.
Yes, we do. And I don't wanna see us in a position that an employee gets a raise because they threaten to quit. And so I don't want us to have to be at that point with Ariel and Kim. So I think we need to move forward in a nice timely manner to be able to look at where the money is for raises here. Because both of these deserve more money and, so let's just see how we make that work, how the process goes.
Good point. Well, the problem that I see now is that if we put this discussion of employee compensation in July, we still have to deal with the employee evaluations. This could go on for another month without, you know, it being kind of fair to them to be,
What
they're
is
still working at that rate.
fair mean?
Fair is like, you know, in my opinion, you know, you look out there in the world and you could say, honestly, our town is not gonna be able to afford what they would get in Denver or in Colorado Springs or anywhere out there. So there's already, yeah, I call it an island tax that we all have to pay. You know, if we had our businesses there, we would be doing better, I'm sure. Just because that's the way the cities work. That's why people live in the cities.
Well,
However, we're not Fort Garland either. You know, where it's like, you know, your cost of living is, you know, maybe you pay $600 a month for a house. You know, it's a little different here. So we have a little bit of each. There's like you pay more here and you don't make as much here. So I'm trying to find a fair balance where we understand.
I think the fair balance is that we need to do a better job and commit to treating them better.
But if that's the case, then we won't stall.
right, and
Like-
that's my point, is that, if it was a month, I think they can live with that. I just don't want this to drag on for.
And that is our job,
Is
to
to,
not
to
drag it
get
out.
that.
So can we make a
person-
commitment?
And I'll say, I've been asking for employee evaluations,
have.
including of our new employees, every meeting for the last however many meetings.
So if we go through, if we get the process, we evaluate the evaluation process at the next meeting, then we could also. We'll see if it starts with self-evaluations, then we can schedule an executive session. So that then we can continue the process. I mean, we have 2 meetings next month and
Right,
if
so-
we add an executive session in there. I mean, like we're all saying, taking care of our employees is. Up there with number 1, along with us figuring out this supplemental budget. And so if that means we have to have extra meetings next month to make that happen, then we have to have extra meetings next month to make that happen.
Yes.
And we also, if depending on how much money we actually have, we can always make a pay raise, say retroactive to July 1st, if that money is available. So we don't have to like go July, August,
Right.
September.
And also, we should not get them too excited about retroactive payments because we don't know what we can do.
Which,
So we have a meeting on July 8th. We have a meeting on July 22nd. If we get the process on July 8th for evaluations, then we won't have, then there would be 2 weeks of time in between when they would be evaluating, and then on the 22nd, we would come back and that would be
We can have executive
executive
session.
session.
Sure.
I mean, is that fair to you guys, or is it kind of like,
Fair is really a
Fair.
weird word.
That's the relative.
how about this? Is it balanced? Is it checked?
Is it,
I mean.
we
I'm
have a
checking.
job to set a process.
Our job is
That's
checks
not
and
done.
balances. Is it balanced? How's that? Is it balanced with our employees? Is there a balance? We're checking and balancing.
And the board's whole duty is policy, so.
So if we haven't followed policy for the last years, we need to. And that's not a question of fair or balance, it's a question of appropriate and right action. And they took those jobs at a certain wage with no understanding that they would be getting paid $25 an hour by July 1st. And now we understand that they need to, deserve to, and want to get paid more, and it's our job to figure out how to make that happen.
I think.
And if it takes a month or 2 months, that's what it takes.
And part of that process, I think, is creating the schedule, so then we really have a long-term process. Like, once we're looking at, you know, however this takes place, I don't know how these evaluations take place, but then like actually getting it on a calendar where like we're doing it consistently as we should be. And I think that's like where maybe the balance comes in, is like really making it a priority that we follow on a timeline.
Okay. Do you guys wanna take a break for lunch?
Let's
I'm
get
I'm not coming back up.
Okay, so then let's just keep going.
Let's keep rolling.
Yes,
Ariel,
yes, yes.
How many hours was Sarah working?
20.
20, okay.
Yes.
So,
Wait, she has some information.
I wanted to give you the sales tax, numbers for May 8th. I don't know, that's when it came in, 41,159.15. Say it again, 41,000.
This is the first time.
Is that the latest one we
That's
have?
May. June, 37,568.
So that's with the adjustment of Amazon supposedly not charging anyone in the 81131 online municipal tax. So that's great so far.
I'm still paying sales tax.
Oh, right.
So,
And
no, it's now, and consider a monthly schedule for the meetings and packets.
I can wait on that. I think that's even part of employee evaluations.
Oh, well, here it's O, and O, I guess it's still O. Cemetery expansion, LiDAR, drone of the 40 acres, so. So you're saying that they've LiDAR the whole valley, and you say that it's at the rate that we need with drainages and the whole 9 yards, or?
You can see individual rocks.
That I've seen on like Google Earth, that's not Google Earth.
Not Google Earth, USGS, LiDAR, and, Andrew Valdez at the, National Park, made a presentation about it. And,
When was the last time you were out?
That's water line or sewer line?
When was the last time you were at the cemetery?
No, that's why.
I was out at the cemetery 2 nights ago.
Me too.
Yeah, so what happened, was there any,
You walked out.
was there
There's
any,
a lot of washout, we had a nice big gully like this.
so the stuff that was already done, we have to figure out how to mitigate more drainage from that, but the extension is what we're trying to talk about, we have,
That's what I'm talking
yeah.
there.
So you're saying this stuff was washed out on the cemetery, the 6 acres that we're using right now?
And this is the water line?
We had a lot of water the other day. Water washed through the road there,
I'll go out there.
like the roads in town. And outside in that 40 acres that extends between the
Yeah,
The doors.
current cemetery and the
that mountain,
BLN,
right.
there was a lot of runoff in that area also, on the roads.
Now, do you think it's worth, you don't think it's worth getting an updated map, surveyed with?
I'm,
It's got pins out there already.
No, it's what it is, it's basically something you can turn in to an engineer and they can see exactly what to do so that we have.
Well, actually, there's a plan Okay, you know, if you get north with the main
I've seen
drag,
the plan.
there's the gate. Well, there's also an additional one that, would only require like 3 trees to be taken out. And open up, it's part of the 40 acres,
I know,
you know, if we.
no, I've seen the map of the extension. You're talking about, it's like a big rectangle going north.
Going north, yeah, but there's kind of 2 accesses, if you will.
I know.
If you go this one, you're gonna have to cut a lot of trees. If you go this one, which is past the corner,
Yeah.
it's kind of in the middle. And go that direction, it's only like 3 trees. And there's like really no drainage problems that I saw at all.
Well, Dennis and I went out there and walked, we opened up the gate and walked north, and what we saw was, yes, there's a lot of big trees out there that should not get
There's
cut.
dead standing.
There's even dead standing, but there's also a huge area that could be, thinned quite a bit, because what happens that I've noticed is that when you have big trees and then you have little trees, they compete, and so the little trees usually end up dying anyways. So you usually keep the big trees and then remove the little ones.
Well, what we need to do is like spread out, like. You could do the sides for burial plots. And then start in the middle. So that you could spread out, because the way this old one was laid out, they just planted them wherever it was convenient. So now you have to drive, if there was spots open, you have to drive over so many graves to get to that spot. And we wanted to not go there. You know, who knows what's gonna happen 30, 50 years from now? So we were trying to get a plan to where, okay, start at the middle and maybe the sides. And then you can work from the middle out, have your access roads and so forth. But that way you wouldn't be driving over grandma's grave to get to Uncle Joe.
So I agree with that as far as having a plan. I just thought that doing a triangle or a rectangle, the way that it was planned, does not take into account for the actual contours and movement of the land. And so my thought was to, if there's already an existing map that really shows that kind of detail where the drainage is run, and we can actually turn it over eventually to have an engineer look at it. And they basically like figure out a plan, then we could bring it back to a surveyor and have them plot it out into what we
Culvert
want.
this off and just flag it.
So why don't I do the research, we'll put it back on the extension, or put it back on for July. And I'll come back with my research on this USGS LiDAR survey.
I mean, we're also, it sounds like you're just about to the point where now you need a cemetery committee. Or a work session.
Well, what we've been doing was, because we couldn't get into the public works building last time. For our public works committee meeting, we brought out all of the books. And and Kyle, who was our aide, actually did a full report, so we found the report. He recommended some stuff, and so that's what triggered this. I went back to the same person that was already reporting on I went back to the same surveyor. And called him and he said he would do it, but we need, it's more than $8,000. So we put an ad in just so that we had that done. Nobody's responded to our ad. So now it's a decision whether we still use this guy or.
Right, I mean, the map is one thing, I'm just talking about if we're gonna start talking about design.
Well, I would come back to the board, I think.
I'm just suggesting that it could be a work session just to focus on that and or.
Well, I would say the Public Works Committee has already started the process. I think we'd be all willing to continue the process. It was Ariel, it was Dennis. And,
So can we put that for like next month's agenda? And
yeah,
okay, cause I'm gonna have to leave here and I wanted to ask if this well, is on this agenda or are we waiting for next month?
It's the next item, it's item P.
yeah,
It's what?
Item P.
So we're doing it now.
Okay.
let's move on.
It's-
Is that okay? You get it?
Do they have
I don't wanna
access
do
to
anything without
water?
the whole board, I think we can just gather information.
Do they have reasonable access to water?
So what I'm looking at the map here and seeing the blue line is the water line, I guess the dotted line is some sewers.
The customers within 150 feet of water of sewer, and there's 720 feet away from water. And for our ordinance, if it's under 400 feet, they have to hook up to our access, but if it's above, they can request permission from you.
So actually, when I totaled up the distance, I came up with 870, just because I put in the width of the roads. And so from where she's at here, I'm looking at 300, 300, and 600 plus 60, and 60 is 120, that's 720 plus another 150 to the house. That comes out to 870 feet. I think they're really a long ways away from any water line. So here's where they're at, so,
Yeah.
here's the creek, so there, she's right here. And the nearest water line is over here.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's like 300, 300 plus the width of the roads is 600, 60 and 60. So that's 720, plus she's in the middle of the block, that's 150, that's 870 feet to be able to hook up to water. We don't have any expansion plans to go into that neighborhood, we don't have anybody else in the region who's also wanting to get onto water. People that live over here already are on their wells, so I would make a motion to.
How much land does she have?
Allow her to be able to drill a well for that.
So one other thing, well, she has two pieces of land, one is on, it's three, I think it's 3 lots. She has a piece on the south side of the creek and then a small piece on the north side of the creek. I'm curious though, if she's even gonna be able to build on that other side. I'm wondering if that land is even buildable on either side. We just had a big, you know, the ditch that runs down Granite Street, it totally tore up her land on this last little flood, I mean, it just completely. I saw so much damage. Just ripped apart on her land.
So
On that side, where there's only a small piece, and I'm wondering if she gets the well. And then also decides to build, she's gonna have to go to the Board of Adjustment for variance. Even maybe,
Because because of the creek, she doesn't have enough room to build on.
it's a very small piece over there.
Well, if you've got a well on it, the Board of Adjustments won't have a choice but to approve it.
So then I would say before we approve having a well, then I withdraw my motion. Before we do that, then she needs to go through the building permit process. And then if it's not enough, go to the Board of Adjustment. So I rescinded my motion for approving the well.
Does that make sense?
until we find out if she has billable lot.
I thought this was just a problem we went through with Sheldon, I thought that the water and sewer didn't have anything to do with the building permit application itself, because that was what Sam Case.
But what if she puts a well on?
Building permit without water,
So what,
and we were told that they don't even have to have water, so I'm just
Right.
confused about.
but she's asking for a well, and if there's not room on the property, what if she tries to put the well in a spot that in the setback? Is she gonna still need to go to the Board of Adjustment?
I thought the Board of Adjustment didn't deal with the.
Well, we would, I mean, she's going to be going on that property and having these big trucks doing a well. I'm wondering where,
It'll already be established, so the Board of Adjustments will have no choice but to approve whatever next.
So part of it, I'm confused on this. A person doesn't need to have water in order to have a building permit. So, but realistically, we cannot act, she's asking for an exemption at this point. An exemption from our rules to be able to, or from the state, who requires them to come to the town before they won't issue a well permit. The person has to come to the town to get a waiver basically to the state, because the state mandates that they hook up with the water system. And we're the ones who then say we can't provide water, that way they're able to go for a well. But if this person does not have a buildable lot, I mean, we could go ahead and say, yes, you can build a well there, but first I think it needs to be determined if they even have a buildable lot. So, I think it's a unique situation, just because it might not be a buildable lot. Normally, it wouldn't matter.
Or if he doesn't have a buildable lot, is the Board of Adjustment gonna give her a variance so that she can build on the setbacks? Cause there's definitely, if you go over there, I mean, it's really tight, it's a small piece, and the other side is a big piece. However, it's in a total flood zone, pulling off all the drainage off granite.
Well, and there's also the floodplain regulations that we have. And so that's something that needs to be looked at with the planning commission should look at floodplain building so far from a creek. And there's rules about how close to the creek you can build. And if they don't have a buildable lot, that's kind of on them. The Board of Adjustments could say, well, we can make an allowance because of the creek. And it might turn, and they might be willing to hedge on a setback.
She's the one that came to the town and asked if we would vacate those streets. Because she knew that she couldn't really build.
The town does not vacate streets.
Yes, Dennis?
It's just kind of build on what Kizim was saying. We should get this, this person as much information as we can, so she isn't misled. If we allow the well to happen, that automatically now she'll be able to, put in for a permit application and get it. So she should receive all of the information that Kizim had just presented. And I would say if there is any indication that she's going to go to the Board of Adjustments to get ahead of that game, she should have an engineer look at the property very well and submit documents that show that it's whatever's going to be built is out of the flood zone.
Yeah, our Board of Adjustments is defunct right now. But she could at least.
She has to go to the planning commission and get turned down first.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, what, he's saying we need to go to the planning commission first and get turned down before.
Why don't we send Sam up there to give an assessment?
I think that if we're asking her to figure out if it's a buildable site, then sending our building inspector there is a good idea.
I just have a feeling if she decides to build within the setbacks, even between the two properties, there's gonna be an issue. And if we give a permit, if we allow her to do that, then there's gonna be a real fight between neighbors and her.
Well, and this is where I think, first of all, the building inspector has to come and say, okay, this is your plan to build. And located on the lot, and then the building inspector would say, hey, you're not within the setbacks, or you're not close enough to the creek, and would deny a person a building permit. And then that person's next option would be to go to the Board of Adjustments.
So here's what I would say too, is that the town does not require her to have water. So she's allowed to build without water. She does have to follow she already said she's gonna tap up to the sewer because she's within distance. The setbacks have to be maintained even with a well. So we have to make sure that there's enough room for her to build, but with the building inspector, and that she follow the setbacks. And then if that's the case, then it would go to the planning commission. And then it would go, if the building inspector gives permission, it will go to the planning commission. If it doesn't, then it will go to the Board of Adjustment for a variance. And we will have to figure the Board of Adjustment out.
And so the well, like I say, the building permit, they don't require, you don't have to have a well of water to have a building permit. But we are not going to enter into the discussion about a well, whether we would allow it or not, until we know it's a buildable lot. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, and she doesn't have to pay for just have to go up there and look at it. she's not actually applying for a building permit as yet. But I also wanted to bring up the fact that I can't find it in my packet, but, there's 2 board members on the Board of Adjustments.
Yeah, it's-
Which is only supposed to be 1 person. I would gleefully resign. Could you need a letter? Cause I think Adam and I are both on.
It's you,
Dennis. I need Dennis. I will let him do it.
Sure, I would appreciate a letter.
A letter, okay, so that we can get that part straight. So we might need to advertise.
Can you be on the planning commission and board of adjustment?
I'm not sure. At this time, but I have to double check that.
So do we need to direct Sam to go and talk to this person
Check it out, yeah.
and have a report and kind of give, and then, you know, she can.
I think we need to direct that person to present a rudimentary plan of what they plan to do
Mhm.
with locations and setbacks. And then we would have our building inspector review that
Okay,
Yeah,
Cause normally he gets paid by the
license.
$35 or whatever it is.
By the way, Armando logged off, I don't know when that was, but.
So for the Board of Adjustments, I wanted to see, is Daya still a resident of town?
Still a resident.
So I'm wondering if it might be a possibility to be on the Board of Adjustments. He's familiar with the town laws and. Just wanted to toss that out, if we're looking at people.
he's out of town right now, but I think he'll be back.
If he's a resident, though, I mean, Board of Adjustments doesn't happen all that often, and they schedule it.
No,
You also don't have to be a resident.
Oh, that's right. You don't.
I was hoping that April might be interested too. I asked her and she's working on herself. She's doing her own meditation thing, but she said when she's done, she'll let me know.
So, anyways, I just thought anybody who's friends with Daya might just say, hey.
Yeah, Rick Hart to do it.
we do need 2 people, so you could ask anyone.
I would ask Rick Hart to do it.
Three people.
So before I have.
5 total. So Dennis,
That's Rick Hart.
Dennis,
So then you need 4,
huh?
so then you need 4, because Kim just stepped down, this is just Dennis. Assuming that Annie case is not going to be on it.
Okay,
So then,
so you got direction on that? You feel?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Angie Jensen for a rudimentary building plan for Sam Case to go
Make sure that it comes.
construct that it complies.
And. Mayor, I mentioned, I'm feeling late already for something. I just wanted to jump in on something about public works.
Okay, let's do that because we do need to.
Yeah, and, there, I had stopped in about 2 weeks ago and saying that there was a fence that fell down, a tree that needed to be replaced, and left a message to please have Brett give me a call. I never heard from him, I don't.
Brett or Brent? Brent?
Yeah, Brent, he called me, and I never heard from him, but I don't know if he actually got my message. But I really wanna be able to connect with someone. There's a fence around one of the trees that is really damaged and needs to be replaced. I even have some fencing I would donate. And then my big concern is we've got like tens of thousands of dollars worth of trees, and I wanna make sure that they're really getting adequately water. I mean, thankfully, we've had these rains, but still, they need.
So you weren't here, but we did water things have been watered continuously up until the rains.
Yeah, they really, and I'm willing to volunteer my time on this, but I know the planter beds are getting overgrown with weeds. There's cheatgrass getting into all the planter beds. We haven't had the public works part-time person going out there and weeding the flower beds or really maintaining the trees. I would be willing to help, like some of those trees need pruning, I'm happy to do it. What I need is the other person who would like open up the fence and do that sort of heavier lifting.
So Brent is not available to do anything for public works. He was kind of working on the watering system.
Okay,
They figured out that it's in bad shape. There's
Great.
a lot of leaks. I don't know what's happening with that exactly, but he is strictly water.
and part of this is because I have talked with him, he said the fire department was able to come with their truck and they put like 2,000 gallons of water on these trees, which is super. But I don't wanna act outside of my authority as a trustee to tell people they should be doing this or that. But we have trees that are only 2 years old that have a real small root ball. If they don't get sufficient water, they need the water to be able to spread their roots out. Right now, there are these big trees with these small root balls. And they need to be able to have regular water, and so I'm glad the priority is fixing this water system, but in the meantime, we need to have the continuing water, we need to have one of the fence.
Dennis, what did you have to say about it?
One of the.
I know
fences-
that Brent had been in touch with landscape architect or whatever they're called to work on that system. They came out, they viewed it, they gave some of the preliminary stuff that you talked about. They were supposed to go back to their shop, develop a plan and get back with him. They never done it. He's done some follow-up calls to them and there's still no response. So I just want to let you know that he made that effort.
So I have a pretty good sized tank. I have a well that I could run and get some water out there. And I'd be willing to work with you so that we could do this. Maybe Eddie, we could eventually, after the 4th of July, ask Eddie Hyde to start looking at the trees and things like that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you know, it's probably gonna be us volunteering.
You know, if I had some help, I have the fencing. And there's that tree that's right below the gallery where it was not the right sort of fencing to begin with. The deer have just destroyed the fencing. They use it to climb up to eat the tree. I have some fencing I would donate if somebody would help install it.
Okay.
And
I'm
so
willing to help. We'll just coordinate.
I'm willing to do, I just need help with the fencing.
Okay.
Okay, I have to go.
Okay. So, kids, and we'll just stay in touch about it. I'll work with you.
The town should supply the water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can
water.
could we hook into a hydrant, you know, so over in the park and water around the park and?
I have I think it's a 450 gallon tank on the back of the truck,
Oh, so you can go and fill up with the town water and then.
and then we can go around.
Stop with those, okay,
But it's just gonna take some time.
I'm also willing to help with that, I mean, we'll just have to schedule it. Like you said,
This week, though, you know, I think that rain is probably good for a little while, but,
Yeah,
um,
and we're supposed to get, like, this coming week is supposed to be full of rain too.
But then there's July.
okay,
Anyway,
so let's coordinate
yeah,
and get that. I'm up for it.
I'll just start pulling weeds out of flowers.
So what was this, Q Joy Hill sales tax?
She's not here and I tried to reach out to her.
Okay.
Her phone is connected.
She's just seeking information.
There was a lot of information that we had from that letter, from Anya. But, so if she wants it, I think we should just pass on that letter.
Oh, well, if she requests something.
She didn't tell me what it was about, and then her phone's disconnected, so aside from going out to their place, I don't know.
So the resolution. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. With her. But the resolution,
Amending certain sections.
so it's the 004
I
20.
just made the changes that you had requested in the previous meeting from the changes I had made before that. So if you would like to approve this final draft, or if you have further changes that you would like to make.
This
So
is
it's-
just for the agenda. I make a motion,
Hang on. 2001, so there's still the financial reports right after roll call, is that what you wanted?
That's what was requested.
that's what was requested.
No, I remember specifically, we said we have to approve the agenda and we have to do the minutes and citizen comment. And then we were gonna do financial reports and then treasurer's report. Remember that?
This is literally what was told to me.
Really?
Last time I
So-
gave it to you guys and you said that it's how it should look, but it isn't.
Well, we can't do financial reports before approval of agenda.
Okay,
And we can't do it before, well, I guess we could do it before minutes, but it's
No, we should do it after we get through the,
We should do it, citizens'
Division,
comments,
yeah.
then financial reports, then treasurer's report, then financial committee.
Yeah.
Our presentation of bills, then finance committee.
So it's gonna have to wait till next month.
No, you can.
no, we can approve it as amended. I make a motion, we approve
21.
resolution 0042017. Oh, I'm sorry, 00.
001/2024.
That was the old
One other thing, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't another resolution, right? Is
I
that
didn't
it?
find any resolution.
Okay.
before-
As
I think
amended.
it's in January. There were.
Didn't we didn't do one with the lawyer at all?
No, that was.
Okay.
As amended,
Second,
Any more discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I feel like one of the public works concerns that have come, that
Well-
people talked about, have kind of been dealt with.
Kinda, the only thing was, that the cemetery kinda got put on the Public Works Committee. And if you want Drew, if Drew is part of that, we were gonna talk about whether he gets paid to be part of it or whether.
And
he
he
can
just do
volunteer.
it, he doesn't want that stuff.
Do you know anything about that, Ariel, if people can volunteer, if they get paid? I mean, is that,
It's a committee, I don't think.
yeah, we're paying him to do the work and the consultation on
Other stuff,
training.
yeah, but as far as going out there to the cemetery, he doesn't need to be paid for that. I mean, he just doesn't want it done wrong. So he'd be part of that committee. For free, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think. If he volunteers his time for the committee. Then that's one thing, but like somebody pointed out, if we made it contingent on that he had to volunteer for the committee. In order to have the job, then that would probably be not okay. And if he does it of his own. Free will, like he's already got the job, we're already gonna pay him, we already agreed to do that.
okay,
And I'll be out there too.
so why don't we just put it that way that we're not. If he wants to volunteer, he can, if he doesn't want to, then he's.
And if you're gonna be out there too, we'll have to notice it,
Why?
because we've already got 2 trustees.
Oh, okay, well, then I won't go.
I mean, I think it's
Are you
fine.
talking about on the 4th of July? Or are you talking about, community?
Cemetery,
Cemetery.
So that was the thing, is that we went through it as a committee, and we felt like it was a good place for us to work on it. But
Well,
if we wanna have,
there's 7 blocks out there, it's kind of my neighborhood.
I mean, I think if you're,
If I shouldn't go, I won't go.
I would say if you're gathering information, we could have a 1-hour work session to look at it all together.
Yeah.
Not take up a regular meeting for it.
say it again,
I said it, we just have to notice it, that's all. And that's. Okay.
If we could even have the work session out there.
Yeah,
I wanna have a
That'd
public
be
works
best.
committee meeting without doing the cemetery, that's one thing. So. But I would be, how about we get some more information before, and we just put it back on the agenda and how we deal with it.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait, we still.
we got
two
code
more.
enforcement.
No, those are get carried over, I think. Code enforcement's carried over, it was just a carryover.
I've just put the agenda as it's been put in the resolution.
Correspondence,
Oh.
there was a complaint.
I wanted to read Dan Graves, apparently there were 2. From last,
You can still read it. He sent me one.
I didn't get it on my phone.
I didn't include that because he didn't ask for it to be included as correspondence, but
Well,
I have started a
it's-
separate file for
Yeah,
Dan Gray.
it's-
You're welcome
It's
to.
blocked anywhere, anyway, so I don't.
So we did get some correspondences. It's under code enforcement, I think. Public Works, flowers around town are dying, need watering, grass in park is gone, needs to be
Oh, yeah.
reseeded and watered.
Is that from?
Nick,
Nick Navarez.
And then I think Lars got it confused, he called it Thorough Park, and they need a trash dumpster, when I think he meant Creekside.
We're gonna add that.
Right.
Yeah, and so we talked about flowers, got somebody on. Yeah, and how word works, you know.
Nick, if you wanna volunteer, go for it.
A member from the public came in, didn't identify themselves, angry that the road grading north of town hall and Galena is pushing gravel into the ditch. Said it's a problem because now residents have to clean it up, and we're upset with town oversight of his work. Is this the kind of complaint you want me to, I think, again, this is all stuff that's gonna be catch up for public works. And we're just gonna have to go through it. Luckily, thankfully, we have Drew to help us a little bit, and Dennis you're coming back. Dennis, when are you coming back, Dennis?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When are you coming back? Into
I
town?
can't hear you.
When are you coming back to town?
I'll be back Thursday evening.
So we can,
You'll start cleaning out the ditches then?
I will. I got my shovel ready.
we're shovel
Can I
ready.
add-
Uh,
Nothing.
So we'll have a meeting pretty soon after you get back around Public Works.
Right, whenever you're ready.
We have
Okay.
a motion on the table
Do we?
to adjourn out of
Oh.
meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
It's like a regular old board meeting.
Yeah, except we got out at 1:30, no lunch.
Instead of 6:30.
Dennis, or Adam. Left it back.